Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to Great Ace Attorney 1, Episode 5. We're into the third part of this episode now, and oh my goodness gracious, so much has happened. It's hard to think that we've gone from Herlock being at despair's edge with the loss of his beloved instruments to now dealing with some shady characters in court. Now, how will this trial shake out? I don't know why I'm grab my controller because we're gonna use the keyboard and mouse instead. Well, I guess I guess it's keyboard. Let's get into it. Oh, wait. Oh, yeah, I have one theory I wanted to just talk about. I was thinking about Susato a little bit and, like, her going back, and I feel like she's gonna get, like, kidnapped or something. But I wonder, it's almost like the game's trying to bait us into thinking something's gonna happen to her. It just seems way too much like, I don't know. I'd be curious. I'll be curious to see what they do with it. I'm gonna see if they're gonna bait us or if Susato actually is gonna be in trouble in the next chapter. But for now, I'm just saying there's a possibility we could get baited. For now, let's get this trial rolling. Order, please. Let us resume proceedings. Witnesses, you will now retake the stand. Ooh, they do not look happy. And they shouldn't. They're criminals. I presume you heard the defense counsel's summation examination? Oh, yeah, Governor. I did, Gov. I did. Mr. and Mr. Skulkin. Or blimey. This is going to be hard work. Earlier in this trial, you gave the following testimony about your actions after you entered Windibanks. Well, it was Bedlam soon as, weren't it? It was, Nash, it was. Didn't even have time to pull me dukes out of me Lucy Lockets. However, that was a lie. You brothers, or blimey, on the night in question, you rifled through the items on the victim's counter. We never done nothing of the sort. How do you figure that out? You will now give formal testimony once again. You will tell the court precisely what happened on the night in question, and this time you will tell the truth. Each lie that passes your lips serves to increase the severity of your punishment. And that, gentlemen, may deal a crushing blow to your chances of ever seeing the light of day again. A thought worth pondering, perhaps. Stay no more, Gov. We hear ya. We'll blab, we'll squeak, we'll peach. Alright, we did knock a few things over, but we weren't rifling for nothing. It was when we heard the gunshot, see? Made us both jump and all that stuff went flying. Lumi, it didn't half give a fright. We was thinking that she'd come out the door and get us next. We stuck everything back where we found it in Skeppard, straight into him in the black. Couldn't have shot the pawnbroker, see? We never even had a chance, did we? So you admit to the defense's accusation. You did indeed ransack Mr. Windibank's countertop on the night in question. Not ransack, Governor, no. That's right, Nash, that's right. It's more like we tidied it up, yeah. Sorry. By their own admission, these brothers entered the pawnbrokery under dubious circumstances. However, they panicked and fled on hearing the gunshot, having first made good their mess. Well, you say it, we oddly sound like roughs at all. We don't, Nash, we don't. Kinda make us sound a bit more cutthroat. Can't just be coincidence that these men showed up at Windibanks last night. There's more to their testimony than meets the eye, I'm sure of it. Illegal entry. Alright, oh yeah,
Hold it!
let's hold it! If that's the case, then why didn't you testify to that effect in the first place? Well, yeah, no, we ain't exactly squeaky clean, are we? We ain't, Nash, we ain't. If we admitted something like that, people would think we was up to no good. Well, since we go me old China, we'd only land ourselves even more trouble. And in fact now, as a result of lying in your previous testimony, that's exactly what you've done. Landed yourselves in even more trouble. That's rotten luck. Says the rotten apple eater. Witnesses, explain your actions to the court. Why did you ransack the victim's counter? We never ransacked nothing. What, Nash, rot? More like we tied the place up. Sorry. They seem very convinced they weren't ruffling through nothing. And tidying up. Unless they were cleaning up after someone. They might have been working for another party. It was when we
Hold it!
See? So what you're saying is the sound of the gunshot shocked you so much you knocked all those things off the counter. Well, it shocked one of us that much, yeah. This beggar knows needs to learn to keep his shirt on. Look, it was loud, alright? Blimey, me dead granny would have woken up at that bang. Big Bravo here screamed like a blooming baby fell over on the counter. He knocked over a load of books, a candlestick, some skull, whatnot. That got tangled in some marionette. We got knocked over a picture frame, knocked them scales on the floor. You've really mastered working quietly then. What a racket. Me granny would have been scared back into her grave with a clatter like that. So in short, the gunshot took you by surprise. And then some, I mean, it was quiet as a mouse, and then all of a sudden, bam.
Excuse me.
Inspector Gregson, do you have something to add? Like I keep saying, I don't appreciate being lumped in with these scoundrels. No, something to add about their testimony. You seemed to react just now to what Mr. Skulkin said. Did it make you think of something? It's probably nothing, of course. I wouldn't even bother to mention it, only... Well, the fact is, cases don't get solved if you ignore the little details. How about you just tell us what's on your mind? As you know, we brought these fellas into the yard for questioning last night, and the statement they gave told a slightly different story to what they're saying now. Did it? You claimed you heard the victim shout something out before the gunshot. I might have, Gov. I might have. Does that ring a bell now you mention it? Granted, it's only a minor detail, but still. I can't even feel like perhaps you've been a bit sloppy with your testimony here, eh, fellas? If I discover the witness's testimony has been any more sloppy than it has hitherto proven to be, I shall be forced to bring the very harshest punishment to bear against them. Easy, easy. We get it right this time. That's it, yep. It's all coming back to me. Then speak! Supplement your testimony with whatever details have miraculously returned your questionable minds, sirs. Yes, Exler, I've heard of the game you're talking about. Right you are, Gov.
Hold it!
So in fact, you heard the voice and the gunshot almost simultaneously. We did, Gov, we did. Although, I suppose if you're being honest, we heard a kind of wavering voice before the yell and all. If you don't want to get shot, give me that gun. Kind of thing. Career in a hatching trash clean mess. And where were the voices coming from, could you tell? Of course we could. From the other side of that door behind the counter, it was. From the storeroom where the victim was found dead. And the voice you heard, it was that of the victim, Mr. Windibank? On me Gran's life, of course it was. On his Gran's life, of course it was. So that would mean that you both knew Mr. Windibank and the sound of his voice. Eh? That would mean what? What, Nash, what? Any ideas? Yes, counsel. Indeed it would. Nah, we didn't know the geezer. How am I supposed to deny when that bloke in all the fancy clavins giving us the evil eye? If you value your lives, you will ensure your testimony is accurate and true. On me Granny's life, it is. On his Granny's life, it must be. A good job as Granny. To summarize it, immediately after hearing the voice of the victim, you hear the gunshot, causing you to stumble and upset the items on the counter, scattering them over the shop floor. You make it sound like we're clumsy. Don't forget we tie it up after like good little boys. Anyway, the way I see it,
Hold it!
you're saying that Mr. Winnebank had a gun in his hands? Oh yeah, I bet that was a sight, eh? Them two waving them guns at each other must have gotten pretty eaten. I mean, just before he shouted out, we heard the geezer say, if you don't want to get shot. Didn't really sound like he meant in mind. More of an empty threat, you could say. Mr. Winnebank was known to keep a revolver on his shop counter at all times. People say that to protect articles in his keeping, he'd readily put a bullet in someone's head if required. That someone being himself, of course. Good grief, extraordinary devotion indeed, if alarmingly misguided. Well, he certainly sounded like we was ready to pull the trigger the other night. Only the person he was going to shoot beat him to it. Coach's goose proper. Bet you wish you squeeze the trigger instead of wasting time shouting, give me that gun. It was really after these words you heard the gunshot. It was more or less at the same time, Guff. Give me that gun. Bam. Kind of thing. Yes. Career ending very tragically. Then we heard the sound of someone hitting the deck. Before everything was dead quiet. After that, we done a slapdash job tying the place up.
Hold it!
So you didn't try to open the storeroom door then? No, on your life! It went deadly quiet out of there, it did. Put the wind right up on me. But anyway, door was locked, weren't it? No way that was opening. Yes, of course. It was locked from the inside. Or so we've been led to believe. Yo, what's up, Keeper? It was, Gov. It was from the inside. Right, so we had no way of knowing what was going on in there, did we? Unless there was some other way to get a view of the inside of the storeroom. Like through the keyhole or a spy hole, perhaps. Don't ring no bells, don't light no lights. We had to cut and run before we noticed anything like that. We are still cutting our teeth in this game, see, but one day we'll really cut the mustard. Please cut it out. But as we know, behind that door was the victim's lifeless body with the accused not 2 feet away. Yes, unfortunately. Gina was in there unconscious with the gun in her hand. To confirm, would it be correct to say that neither of you set foot inside the storeroom? That's right, Gov, that's right. Couldn't have, even if we wanted to. We stuck everything back where we found it and scuppered straight into him in black. Yes, whereupon you fired a shot from your own gun at Mr. Herlock Sholmes. Oh, well, it was a bit hasty there. Well, you was nasty, you was. Truth be told, I was already shaking like a leaf when your lock turned up. You're shaking like a leaf. Don't put a loaded gun in your hand. Good advice, miss. Good advice. Truth be told, your mind went totally blank. Or your mind goes totally blank. Make sure you don't have a loaded gun in your hand. Man, the Lord made, miss. After that, we legged it down the street, but apparently we were dodgy to the cop was on something. They clapped our dobbies on us, we winking. After you'd been handcuffed, the police found this revolver in your possession, correct? Well, yeah. But listen, that proves it, don't it? Eh? We couldn't have shot the pawnbroker, see? We never had a chance, did we? And why should we believe that? And what? Well, cause it's true, ain't it? The place was totally empty when we went in. At that time, the victim was already in the storeroom, having been forced to open the door by the accused who had a gun to his head. In other words, on the night in question, these two witnesses never even laid eyes on the proprietor of the pawnbrokery, Mr. Winnebank. Correct. You got it, mister. Down to a T. The Skulkin brothers never actually encountered Mr. Windibank? Is that really true, I wonder? That's it? That's the full extent of their testimony? What is it, Runo? You look very fierce. I could pour you some herbal tea if you're tired. Oh, thank you, but I'm fine. Being such a logical thinker, you're probably laugh, but I feel as though these brothers are still hiding something important. It is nothing more than a feeling, though. I've no proof to support it. Well, feelings can be very logical at times. Sorry. People's expressions and movement of their eyes, the words they choose, you could take all that in and your brain will quietly analyze it to come up with a feeling like you described. You've concluded that there's something suspicious about their testimony without knowing why, that's all. I think you should trust your instincts, Iris. Thank you. Sometimes I think if she's 10 years old, I must be 5. She is very smart.
Hold it!
Let's see. All right, you knew. So we kind of get this thing like we knew they knew him. How does he know that he was holding a gun?
Hold it!
You seen that Mr. Windibank had a gun in his hands? Oh yeah, I bet that was a sight, eh? Them two waving guns at each other must have been pretty heated. I mean, just before he shot, you don't want to get shot. It sounded like a met. Oh, that threat. Mr. Windibank was known to keep a revolver. Let's see.
Hold it!
You didn't try to open the storeroom door then? Not on your life. This ammunition is still in 5 of the 6, which shows what shot was shot. feel like they should know that he's a pawnbroker.
Hold it!
They're pressing this again. Why should we believe that? Hey, what? Well, because it's true in it. But it's empty, but went in. There's never laid eyes on the proprietor. You got it, mister. Down to a T. This never actually encountered.
Hold it! Hold it!
How does he know that he was holding a gun? Sorry, I'm thinking about stuff. So they're claiming, okay, this is really fluffy. Let's see, lock on the inside. Yes, so we know about that. We were never in the storeroom, they claim. Let's see. Okay, there's a few like weird. Okay, there's a few weird things. Why would someone say, "Give me that gun"? The bloke with the only place was holding a gun, and he should have just fired, so yelling at the girl. How would they know the victim's a girl? Like, okay, here they know. Okay, here's the weird thing with this testimony right now. They are saying things that don't add up, but I don't know how to articulate that they're not adding up. Like, for example, how do they know he was yelling at a girl? How do they know that? Like that, they shouldn't. Like they know, they see the defendant, but in their testimony they shouldn't have known that. So I don't know if it's just they see the defendant and just assumed. He didn't try to open the store door then. Not on your life. We went definitely quiet. The doors was locked. No way it was opening. Blaming the inside. It was from the inside. Now we had no way of knowing what was going on there, did we? There's no other way to view it, like through the key or spy hole. Don't ring no bells. So obviously there is a way. We know there is a way to actually look inside the room. The reason there's a way to look inside the room is because there's the little hole, or in the little yeah, that's where I go. That's right. And I can't present people. Autopsy report. Window bank. This is Mr. Winterbank's gun. The cylinder is completely empty. Filming is always used to keep this gun on a shop counter. Yes, but only ever with a single bullet loaded. I understand. That's right. To keep all the pawn articles that we were in a secure safe. One bullet was fired that night, and the poor man lost his life. Was he protecting his shop? I wonder. Can you keep the articles safe? One other thing that I noticed is that this is uncovered. Here that's not uncovered. This makes it seem like that this was available. Is that what we're going for? To pop your two prints in here to start with, you see. And then when you look through those eyepieces, you can see the image in 3 dimensions. One thing to get right is the position of the 2 prints. I don't know who came up with the idea of stereoscope, but it's really quite fascinating. They claim they don't know Mr. Winterbank. Okay, I'm not exactly sure what I want to do.
Hold it!
I want to press this again. And why should we believe that? What? Well, it's true, isn't it? I don't know, is it? It's just totally empty when we went in. At that time, the victim was already in the storeroom, having been forced to open the door by the accuser with the gun to his head. In other words, on the night in question, these 2 witnesses never even laid eyes on the proprietor of the bombery, Mr. Winterbank. Correct? You've got it, mister. Down to a T. Booker Bros never actually encountered Mr. Winterbank? Is that really true, I wonder? Let's see. Alright. Something is definitely wrong here.
Hold it!
Let's go back to this first testament. No, this doesn't seem to be the statement. I don't think this is the statement. Give me that gun. So in fact, you heard the voice of the gunshot. Someone. You heard a kind of wavering voice before the yell and all. If you don't want to get shot, give me that gun. Bam. Kind of thing. And wherever the voice is coming from, could you tell? Of course we could, from the other side of the door behind the counter. It was the storeroom. Was your was it that of the victim, Mr. Winterbank? On my granny's life, of course it was. On his granny's life. So that would mean that you both knew Mr. Winterbank and the sound of his voice. So that would mean what? What, Nash? What? Any ideas? Yeah, counsel, indeed it would. Nah, we didn't know the geezer. How am I supposed to deny it when that bloke and all this fancy globbin's giving us the evil eye? On my granny's life it is. So you didn't try to open the storeroom door, then? Not in your life. It was quiet anyway. The door was locked, wasn't it? No way to open it. Yeah, it was locked on the inside. It was, Gov, from the inside. We had no idea what was going on in there, did we? Unless there was some other way to get a view of the inside of the storeroom, like through a keyhole or a spiral. Don't ring no bells, don't light no lights. We had a cut one before and I was anything like that. We're still cutting our teeth this game, but one day... this is really hard. I don't think it's related to the voice. So here's where I'm at right now. And the reason I'm taking this much time is I don't want to blunder. So it said the bloke that owned the place was holding a gun, so he would have just fired instead of yelling at the girl. So here's the question. Here's what I'm trying to figure out. Here are some initial thoughts. How do they know that he was yelling at a girl? Was it at... Did they know? How did they know it was her? How do you know that he was holding a gun? Oops, sorry. We could have shot the pawnbroker. How did they know he was a pawnbroker? Well, the pawnbroker was when they got shot. We never had a chance. So, part of what I'm trying to figure out is how to talk about the door here. The curtain's pulled back and you can see the corner of the door, or like the pipe people of the door. The bloke that owned the place was holding a gun, so he could have just fired instead of yelling at the girl.
Hold it!
I wanna... Okay. You're saying that Mr. Winterbank had a gun in his hands. Oh yeah, I bet that was a side A, them two waving them guns at each other. This is just not right. I mean, just before he shot it, we heard the gear if you don't want to get shot. They're saying there was two guns. So here are the two contradictions that I'm seeing so far. I'm seeing a contradiction. The contradiction is, how do they know it was a girl? How do they assume he was holding a gun? What does the autopsy report say? Let's see. Single bullet wound in upper half of victim's back. The bullet entered the body from the back. So if they think that, then it would have to be the autopsy report. Because they think the bloke was holding a gun, so he should have just fired instead of yelling at the girl.
Hold it!
I just want to clarify this. Yeah, he said that he had a gun in his hand. And he had the gun. Only the person was gonna shoot. Yeah, give me that gun. And it was directly after those words. Yeah, it was like at the same time. Give me that gun. Bam. I think it's got to be the autopsy report. All right. So my logic, if I'm wrong, I'm just going to share my logic. My logic is they are claiming that he got shot from the front based on their act. They also believe there's two guns involved, and I think the cleanest way to point out the discrepancy is in the autopsy report.
Objection!
Okay, that was not right. I'm so sorry, counsel, but I fail to see the connection. Oh, for heaven's sake, would you kindly desist from that wipe? Alright, that's too bad. But do you guys understand my logic? My logic is, like, if they are claiming that they were confronting each other, how did he get shot in the back?
Hold it!
What's this statement again? Why should we believe that? Well, because it's true. It's just totally empty when we went in. Never even laid eyes on the proprietor. Correct. You've got it, mister. Down to a T. The skull converted direction, kind of Mr. Winnebago. Is that really true, I wonder? So I guess my thoughts were that like, it's weird that they think there were two guns involved when there wasn't. It's weird that they make it sound like he got shot from the front when he wasn't. It's weird that they don't know about the... It's weird that they know so much about him and they claim not to have seen anything. Okay. Supposed to be like, I guess this is where it's really hard because I think part of it is like this, so that 1 a.m. photo, the latch is invisible. But if you look here, it is visible. Is it supposed to be the post-shooting? I feel like it's the post-shooting photograph then? So my logic is they're claiming they didn't know about the they didn't know about the latch, but they did have a chance. We never had a chance, did we? Didn't they? They did have a chance though. In the post-shooting photograph, there's this little thing they could have.
Objection.
Okay. I mean, odd. There's clearly something odd here. Your behavior, counsel. This is tricky because there's clear, like it's weird. Okay, see, this is one of the things that Ace Attorney does. It gets tricky sometimes. It's hard because it's like, but so let's see. I know they claim they didn't know about the spy part of the door, the little latch. They claim that they could tell it was they knew Mr. Winterbank's voice. I've pressed every statement multiple times. So I don't think there's any additional information I can gain from the pressing. Seems to me that my only option is to present evidence now. Oh man, oh man, oh man, okay. Well, guys, I'm gonna probably have to push or press things again and try to think of a new idea. Let's see. Just before we heard the gunshot, we heard a voice yelling, "Oh, give me that gun."
Hold it!
So in fact, you heard the voice and the gunshot simultaneously. We did, God, we did. Although, I suppose if we're being honest, we heard a kind of waver in voice before the yell and all. Okay? If you don't want to get shot, give me that gun. Bam. Kind of thing. Where the voice is coming from the storeroom. Voices you heard was that of the victim, Mr. Winterbank. Okay, well, then Mr. Winterbank at the sound of his voice. That would mean what? We didn't know the geezer. How am I supposed to deny it when the bloke and all the fancy blobbers giving us the evil eye? I realize you ensure your testimony is accurate. See, it's weird that they so if he says give me the gun, why would his back be to her? Like, that's what's weird. If it's the whole give me the gun and then it's a shot, how is he shot in the back then?
Hold it!
Not on your life. Deadly quiet. Yeah, no way knowing what was going on unless there was some way to get the views like the keel or a spiral. Don't ring no bells, don't light no lights. We had to cut and run with my nose or anything like that. Okay, I'm gonna try the same logic, but with a different statement.
Objection!
What is going on? So, okay, so I guess the contradiction is not, at least for this. I think my logic is valid. My logic is valid, and like why would it make sense if Mr. Windibank is saying, "Give me the gun"? How in the world does he get shot in the back? Do you guys get my point? Like that's the logic I was looking at. How could he get shot? How could he be shot from the back if he's trying to get the gun away from Gina like that? That's where I'm like, if it says, "Give me the gun," bam. If he's trying to get the gun, why would he turn his back? You know what I mean? So what else could be going on? What else is the contradiction here? It seems like this one's a little sus. We couldn't have shot the pawnbroker. We never had the chance. They're claiming they didn't actually encounter Mr. Windibank. Can I prove that they actually encountered Mr. Windibank? I don't think I can. So, okay, here's where I'm struggling, because to me, what doesn't make sense is one, Mr. Windibank getting shot in the back when they make it sound like he got shot from the front. Number two, my challenge is there's that hole that you can look through, and I'm trying to say we never had the chance, but you could have had the chance. But they're claiming they didn't know about the thing, so I guess it's not that. Let's press everything again. Sorry, guys. Unfortunately, with the way the blunders work, I don't want to make more mistakes than I have to. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this as slowly as I need to. That's the case. When I justify that fact in the first place, well, you know, we're clean. We've been something like that. People is up to no good. So yeah, we've only allowed ourselves to be in more trouble. In fact, now you're in more trouble.
Hold it!
Give me the gun. So in the fact, the gunshot almost simultaneously. We did, Guff. We did. Though I suppose if you're being honest. They claim it was the voice of the victim.
Excuse me.
That's funny.
Hold it!
You're saying Mr. Winnebank had a gun in his hands, but he didn't. Okay, so here's... Alright, so maybe I'm gonna... Okay. So I wanna read this very carefully. I wanna do this very carefully. Okay, the bloke who was holding a gun. The bloke who owned the place was holding a gun. That literally is contradicted by this. They're saying he was holding a gun. Okay, so here's my next logic point. They said in this statement, the bloke that owned the place was holding a gun. So he should have just fired instead of yelling at the girl. He's not holding a gun. There was only one gun. So I think I am valid in saying that this statement is saying that the guy that owned the place, Mr. Winnebank, was holding a gun. So he should have just fired instead of yelling at the girl, which I don't know how they should have known that he was even talking to a girl in the first place, but he is clearly not holding a gun. So I'm going to use this as evidence, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. Okay. You're saying that on the night in question, the victim, Mr. Winnebank, was wielding a gun. Is that correct? That's it, Gov. You got the picture. What's up, Shiro? How you doing? Thanks for the love. Yes, that's the original question. They really are Mario and Luigi, aren't they? And yet the photographic evidence with the time of the incident clearly shows that Mr. Winnebank was not in possession of a firearm of any description. You surprise me. Does the defense really intend to highlight evidence that compromises the position of the accused even more? Furthermore, the defense has failed to establish that the photograph presented was taken a suitably short time prior to the victim's death. Your chronology is severely lacking, counsel. Yeah, that's right. T-Rock, Nash, T-Rock. No, geezer could have been about to turn the table in the girl, eh? Hardly likely. No, I'm afraid this won't stand as conclusive evidence. Ugh. Even with the cross-examination, counsel. And heed my earlier warning, witnesses. So... the game acknowledges that, yes, it's a contradiction to say that he was holding a gun. Did I gain anything new from that? That makes the timetable messed up.
Hold it!
Okay.
Hold it!
She didn't try to open the storm door then. Oh wait, I blundered. Wait, no, I didn't blunder because I didn't lose health. I was right, but not the right thing they were asking. They went deathly quiet after that, with the wind right up me. When the door was locked, no way we was opening. Yeah, sure, Shiro. What's the question? Yes, of course it was locked from the inside, so you've been led to believe. Well, it's because it was from the inside. You had no way of knowing what was going on in there. Hero Chow by 1,000,000,000%. Unless there was some other way to get a view. They claim they didn't know about any door hole.
Hold it!
Fire, showering, oh, gun, relation. Oh, yeah, that was a bit hasty. It was. Truth be told, I was already shaking and leaving me a lot turned up. Irons are just going off on them. After that, we looked down the street. Apparently, we're looking dodgy.
Hold it!
This is so difficult. Why should we believe that? It's true, isn't it? I don't know, is it? The place was totally empty when we went in. At that time, the victim was already in the storeroom, having been forced to open the door by the accused who had a gun to his head. It was on the night in question. These two never even laid eyes on the proprietor of the pawnbroker, Mr. Correct. You got it, mister. Down to a T. The Skulkin brothers never actually encountered Mr. Winterbank. Is that really true, I wonder? Let's see. Let's think about this then. Alright, I've pressed the statements multiple times now. Let's see. Oops, I didn't mean to do that. It has nothing to do with it. Oops. McGilded's notes. That doesn't matter right now. The autopsy report. A posterior-anterior bullet wound to the heart. Oh, okay. Bullet entered the body in the back. I still think it's so weird that it was a bullet wound to the back. Okay, so For sure, Shiro. You sure can say that. That's not gonna help me right now. Okay. So what's gonna make the most sense here? So I guess the next thing that I'm thinking about is saying you never had the chance, and I'm debating presenting the floor plans to say you actually could. There is a chance, and then that's wrong. This is very frustrating. I've had a lot more wrong tonight than I have all series. So what do we know from this testimony so far? So let's look at the statements that we should even think about. The whole knocking things over, I don't think we have to worry about that. I think you could talk about the voice, maybe. Give me that gun. The bloke that owned the place was holding the gun, so you should have just fired instead of yelling at the girl. He presented the picture with him not holding the gun. It was like yes, but it's not conclusive. So Lumi didn't give a fright. We was thinking the shooter come out the door and get us next. So they were at the counter. And the shot goes up while they are at the counter by the door. Okay.
Hold it!
Let's look at this one again. None of your life went deadly quiet when. But anyway, the door was locked, weren't it? No way that was opening. Yes, that was locked. Yeah, it was good from the inside. We had no idea what was going on in there, did we? There's some other way to get a view. Don't ring no bells, don't light no light. It would make sense they didn't know about the thing. I still think it's incredibly strange. It's just weird. They know who he is. They know who Gina is. Makes it feel like they saw him. I don't think this is gonna matter. Yeah, that's not gonna matter. Case paper, autopsy report, the instant death. It's just so weird, the shot in the back thing, but I guess we're not there yet. So I need to find an inconsistency, a conclusive inconsistency with something they've said. Now I tried this crime scene plan. So I feel like I either need to prove that they were lying about the voice, but that doesn't make sense because they added that. We did prove that holding the gun, he wasn't holding the gun. So this statement could still have the inconsistency in it. The shooter would come out the door and get us next. It could be... We could not have shot the pawnbroker. We didn't have the chance, did we? So I feel like I either need to... I feel like my best chance is either to say, no, you did have a chance to shoot the pawnbroker. Or we need to do something about... How about this statement? About how said he was holding a gun, so you should just fire instead of yelling at the girl. So, what can I do? What makes sense at this point?
Hold it!
Let's press these two statements again. You're saying that Mr. Winnebank had a gun in his hands, which we know is a lie. Okay. Before everything went... So he hit the deck. That makes sense, because if he died instantly...
Hold it!
Should we believe that Edge? The place was totally empty when we went in. It was our storeroom. Been forced to open the door by the accused with a gun to his head. Two witnesses never even laid eyes on the proprietor of the pawnbroker, Mr. Winnebank. Correct? You've got it, mister. Down to a T. So the Skulkin brothers never actually encountered Mr. Winnebank. Is that really true, I wonder? So, what do we know? There's several weird contradictions that I need to pursue. Allegedly, the fact that they said Mr. Winnebank had a weapon and saying no, he did not, isn't actually what the game is looking for. So the question is, like, I can't really disprove that they heard a voice yelling out, "Give me the gun," because I'm not contradicting what I press. I'm contradicting these statements, these 6 statements. There's an inconsistency where my evidence will suggest something different. So I would have to just is there a contradiction in them saying we knocked a few things over, we weren't rifling for nothing? So that doesn't make any sense. So let's put that statement. Just before the gunshot, we heard a voice yell out, "Give me that gun." Can we disprove this? No, we can't disprove that there was a voice there or not. The bloke was holding a gun. The owner of the place owned the gun, so he could have just fired instead of yelling at the girl. So with this statement, I could either try to say I had to disprove that he wasn't holding a gun, or that he wasn't yelling at the girl, or how they even know that there's a girl in the first place is weird. It didn't give half a fright. We were thinking the shooter would come out the door and get us next. I mean, I could see if there's something here. You didn't try to open the storeroom door then, not on your life. Went definitely quiet, but anyway, when the door was locked. Weren't it? No way that was opening. Yes, it was locked from the inside, so we can let it believe. It was, Guff, from the inside. And we had no way of knowing what was going on in there, did we? that's great, Dan. I do not want any, no hints, no speculation. I don't want any, nothing, not zero. You do not say a word. Absolutely nothing at all. I don't care if this whole episode is literally me trying to get this statement. I don't really care. I don't care that I've been on this particular part for at least 45 minutes. I'm gonna figure it out on my own. To confirm, it would be correct that neither of you set foot inside the storeroom. That's right, Gov. That's right. Couldn't have, even if we wanted to. We stuck everything back, and so we don't need to talk about that. We could not have shot the pawnbroker. We never had the chance. So I either had to prove that they could have shot the pawnbroker. I need to prove that Lumia didn't have to give me a fright. He was thinking the shooter come out the door and get us next. They were thinking the shooter would come out of the door and get us next. We were thinking the shooter would come out the door and get us next. The bloke what owned the place was holding a gun, so he should have just fired instead of yelling at the girl. We already did this, and it was like, oh, it wasn't a thing. A photograph taken immediately after. The things had been moved. We proved that in the last part of the episode, including the curtain. So they are, well... So let's look at the evidence. Oh, I already found one contradiction. The contradiction is that in the photograph, he's not holding a gun, and they claimed he was holding the gun. But when you present that to the judge, he says yes, but it's not conclusive evidence of anything. So that actually doesn't affect the case. So I actually did find a contradiction, but it did not advance me in the game. There's actually, I would say there's several contradictions. There is so much wrong with what they are saying. And the trick is using the evidence to prove that what they're saying is wrong. And so that's what I need to do. So let's look at the evidence. So we have pawnbroker's ticket, not gonna matter. The representation paper is not gonna matter. The ticket and the coat, not gonna matter. And this thing, we have the blood on here, the blood on Windibank, and the blood on the thing. The blood samples are not going to help me here. We have Iris' story manuscript. That's not going to matter. The McGildy case notes won't matter. The paper won't matter. So we have the autopsy report. A report... Wait a second. Confirms instant death due to a single blow wound from the back. There is no other sign of trauma. See, my other contradictory point that I found was that they're claiming that that he was talking to Gina or whatever, and that bam, the gunshot went off. But if she shot him, how could she have shot him from the front when the bullet was in the back? But when I tried presenting it like that, it didn't work. It said, the game said, no, that's not a contradiction. Yeah, I don't want to be spoiled in any way. I don't want any speculation. I don't want nothing. Zero. Nada. Okay. We had the photograph of the victim. This won't matter now. Because they did hear a thud on the floor. Next, so I think the autopsy report is one possibility. Next, you have the crime scene floor plans. Now, they were around here and they could hear something going on back here. That makes sense. They said that there is no other way in, which is true with the floor plans that we know of. There is a little hole you can look through, but they're claiming they did not know about it. So like that could be, it's hard because like you could say like, well, technically there was a way to look into the room, but they're claiming they didn't know about the way to look into the room. So it's hard to know, like, do I try to argue, like, actually, you probably did look in the room? I feel like that's a little, I feel like with where the game is right now, this isn't the part that, like, this is probably a valid point. Like, yes, there actually was a way for them to look into the room and potentially shoot Mr. Windibank, which actually makes sense that they did, because his bullet wound is in the back. It makes sense because the bullet wound is in the back. However, to use this evidence to suggest that, there's so many. Oh, I've had 4 blunders this episode already. So I'm trying to argue a contradiction in their statements using the evidence that I have. So can I use the crime scene floor plan to suggest that they knew about the door? I don't think I can do that with this. Next, we have the Windibank gun. Belonged to the victim. Gina was holding that she was unconscious. There are signs of a single discharge. Okay. Well, you know what? I don't think I can do anything with the gun right now because the gun was in the room, blah, blah, blah. Their gun was found, and we already proved, as of at least right now, that it was shot at the calendar. It was shot at Mr. Sherlock Holmes. Next, we have the photograph of Gina. She's the one holding Mr. Windibank's gun. Now, the thing with this is, I already used this to prove a contradiction, but it wasn't the right contradiction. So I'm guessing this evidence, unless I can use it for a different statement, I don't think this is the evidence we need to look at. We have the post-shooting photograph, but the only thing I can think of with this is that right here, you can see the outline for the little hole for the interior of the room. But can I use this to prove that they actually used it or not? Because, like, you could say that, like, okay, so they could say, well, they went through and moved the door or not. And that's one part, because you go here, there's nothing here, but you can very clearly see here that you can see the door. I mean, unless there's something else with the door handle that I'm not seeing. Looks pretty similar to me, other than this little thing right here. What was that, them? Or was that from them entering the thing? Then I don't think this is the stereoscope's not gonna matter. So, of the evidence that I have, the only ones that could even make a little bit of sense in this case would be the shooting, the photographs, maybe the crime scene floor plan, the autopsy report, or the autopsy report. So these are the 4 pieces of evidence I feel like could maybe give even a sense of what's happened. So let's take a look again at these statements. All right, we knocked a few things over. This isn't going to matter. My 4 pieces of evidence are not going to contradict this. Okay, the next one we have this voice yelling out, "Give me that gun." Already know it's weird about the way that, like, the fact that you have a gun, whatever. Maybe, okay, well, statement number 2 is a maybe. Bloke that owned the place, holding the gun, should have just fired, so yelling at the girl. Well, we proved that he didn't have the gun, but that didn't matter. So, like, this statement, I'm trying to think, with the autopsy report and the other stuff, probably not with that statement. Lumi didn't have a threat. We was thinking the shooter come out the door and get us next. I mean, maybe it's something with the door here. Not really sure. We stuck everything back, and then we scarpered straight into him in the black. I'm gonna look at this statement one more time, but I'm pretty sure this has nothing to do with the contradiction. Upon you fire from your own gun, Sherlock Holmes. Yeah, well, yeah, blah, 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 yeah, well, we should have done that. Yeah, you don't. They're freaking out. No, you cannot suggest a different strategy. I do not want help. Do not help. No, 0. I've already said this. No help. I don't want any help. I've pressed the statements at least 5 times each. We could not have shot the pawnbroker. See, we never had a chance, did we? So this one is a possibility to try to prove like you could have had the chance, and I would try to prove that by saying, look at there's the door thing. There's a little, you can see clearly the window to the storeroom is visible. However, they claim they didn't see that. So like that's a maybe, but I'm not entirely sure. So statement number 6 has legitimate possibilities of having the contradiction. Statement number 4, maybe. Statement number 3, definitely. Statement number 2, maybe. So we're looking at 2, 3, 4, and 6 with these pieces of evidence. So technically, I could just get 16 blunders and force it, but I don't want to do that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press again and try to really see, like, does what they say, how does that match up with the evidence that I'm pretty confident is related to the case? Because the armband has nothing to do with this right now. The pawnbroker's ticket would not have anything to do with this right now. To create a contradiction in their statement, the pawnbroker's ticket does nothing. Change representation papers does nothing. This doesn't do anything. The blood sample portfolio, you can look at the portfolio sample. That's not going to help right now. The Irish story manuscript has nothing to do with this. There's nothing even about the contents of the storeroom. It's not this. The McGillis case, we're not even there yet. The day's paper about that's not going to matter. Okay, so autopsy report, right? This death due to the single bullet wound from the back, but they claim that she got shot from the front, subliminally. But I don't know if that's enough. We have the crime scene photograph. Like it's basically the autopsy report does the same thing as the crime scene photograph, but I think this is better. The crime scene floor plan is a possibility to try to talk about like maybe the position of things. Not entirely sure. We have the guns themselves. A gun belonging to the victim, Mr. Windibank, that Gina was holding when she was found unconscious. We know that she held a gun at one point. And we have their firearm where there were signs of a single round fire, because we've already established that the bullet they fired was at Herlock Schultz. I do not believe this gun is related to the contradiction. We have the photographs that have already explained why I believe they could be the evidence we're looking for. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to press statements 2, 3, 4, and 6 again, and I'm going to see which of these narrowed down pieces of evidence might work with this.
Hold it!
You heard the voice and the gunshot almost simultaneously. We did, Gov, we did. Although, I suppose if you're being honest, you heard a kind of wavering voice before the yell and all. If you don't want to get shot, give me that gun. Bam. Kind old thing. Okay. Of course we could. From the other side of that door behind the counter, it was. From the storeroom where the victim was found dead. And the voice here, it was that of the victim, Mr. Windibank. Ami Grant's life it was. And so we know that they can recognize Mr. Windibank's voice. You knew Mr. Windibank and the sound of his voice. And well, that would mean what? They say they didn't know the geezer. How am I supposed to deny blah, 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 blah. That is why, like, okay, so for this statement, it's very possible, based on what we know, this could be where the autopsy report comes into play. Because if it's just before the gunshot, we heard a voice, give me that gun, would have been facing forward. So I could try to use this statement to go back to the got shot from the front mentality. I actually really, really, really want to just do that right now. That sounds really good. But was Wade holding the gun? But I'm going to double check. Mr. Winnebago got a gun in his hands. Oh yeah, we already proved that he did it. So that was wrong, but it's not the wrong point we're trying to get. And just before we shot, we heard the keys if you don't want to get shot. Wait. Wait, hold on. Wait a second. Wait a second. Just something I'm noticing.
Hold it!
Okay, so in fact you heard the voice. We did. Although we heard a wavering voice before the yell. If you don't want to get shot, give me that gun. If you don't want to get shot, give me that gun shot. So they're saying that they heard a wavering voice saying, if you don't want to get shot, give me the gun. If you don't want to get shot, give me the gun. If you don't want to get shot, give me the gun.
Hold it!
Okay, so he said, if you don't want to get shot, give me the gun. Here's the had a gun in his hand. And now, I mean, just before he shot him, we heard the geezer say, if you don't want to get... So they're saying they heard the geezer say, if you don't want to get shot. So why, if he has a gun, what do you say if you don't want to get shot? So they're contradicting. They say, well, we heard a wavering voice. They give me that gun. So why would you say if you don't want to get shot, give me that gun? All right, that makes statement number 2 extremely suspicious. Okay. So they're claiming they heard a voice wavering about if you don't want to get shot. Because why, if he doesn't have the gun, would he say, if you don't want to get shot, give me that gun? That's stupid. Okay, let's look at number 4 again. So you didn't try to open the storeroom door. Oh, sorry. Went deadly quiet. And anyway, the door was locked. Of course, it was locked from the inside, we've been led to believe. It was from the inside. Right, we had no way of knowing what was going on in there. Well, you did, because there is a spy hole. So there is a possibility if I use a photograph to say, hey, you can see that there's a little people and there's definitely light in the room. You know why there's light in the workshop? So they could have seen it. They should have been able to see it. So they could have easily peered inside. Easily. So that is one other possibility. Couldn't have shot. Okay, I don't think it's that anymore. All right, I'm gonna go with my 2 things. We're gonna try it, and if I blunder, I blunder. So the review, just before the gunshot, we heard a voice yell, give me that gun. I am going to suggest again that the autopsy report suggests that instant death from a single wound from the back. From the back. So unless they're going to claim that if Winnebago's voice says, give me that gun, why in the bleep would his back be to Gina if she shot him in the back? He would be facing her, wouldn't he? He would be facing her. He would be forward. You couldn't have gotten shot in the back by Gina if he is in front of her.
Objection.
Well, I guess we're going back to the main menu. Unbelievable. It's just, that's not right. That's just remarkable. That's 5 blunders in one episode. Second game over of the playthrough. Unlucky, unlucky. Oh, this is a tough one. This is very tough.
Guilty.
So I guess I'm gonna just go ahead and go with my second gut to try to say that there is definitely a way that they could have seen in the storeroom. They could have absolutely seen inside the storeroom. I don't, other than that, I mean, I can try to prove that they did have a chance to shoot, but I'm just not sure I can do that. I've already tried using the pictures for that. Man, I'm gonna have to go through all the pressing again. That's so lame. That's so...
Hold it!
Okay, that's great, Dan. I don't care. You said you played the game before, so I don't even know why you're saying that.
Is that right? Excuse me.
So we've already tried doing this.
Objection.
And it's not gonna move us forward.
Objection.
We already tried this. And you surprised me. Does the defense really intend to highlight evidence of compromise? Furthermore, the defense has failed to establish that the photographic print presented was taken a suitably short time prior to the victim. So the chronology is off. So they're saying because the chronology is off. So like, that's a contradiction, but it doesn't actually matter right now. The blow on the place was holding the gun. Then we was thinking the shooter come out of the door and get us next. Was thinking the shooter come out the door and get us next.
Hold it!
Now when we press this, you didn't try opening the storm door. Not in your life. It's definitely quiet. How do you guys know it was locked on the inside? So what I'm trying to suggest then I don't freaking know, man. This is really weird. This is a really weird one. I've gone down every possible train of thought, I think. I mean, I really don't see how the pawnbroker's ticket can be useful, or Gina's representation papers, or this ticket, or the blood samples. We didn't have a chance. I mean, the blood samples. This is blue blood. This is the green blood. This is probably Herlock's blood. We didn't even have a chance to shoot him. The paper about the secret leaks doesn't matter. The autopsy report confirms it. I don't understand why the bullet wound from the back isn't the answer. It's just so weird. Murdered in the storeroom. A plan at Windibank's pawnbrokery, the scene of the crime, shows the relative positions of the main shop and the rear storeroom. Wait, why would you guys care if you have a gun?
Hold it!
You didn't try to open the storeroom door then? Not on your life. It was definitely quiet anyway, the door was locked, weren't it? Okay, I actually have an idea. If you guys have a gun, why are you... That's great, Dan Gaming. I don't really care. Good for you. So now my next thought is... Who was thinking the shooter come out the door and get us next. But why, if you have a gun that was fully loaded, other than the single shot, and was fully loaded beforehand? So, like, why are you... So, like, my logic would be, why would you be afraid, like, if you guys have your own gun with you? That's one possibility. You could have shot the pawnbroker. If they... I don't know. I'm just gonna try this. This is probably like a brute force, but I don't think the logic is bad. The logic here is, why would you be scared if you have your own gun?
Objection!
So frustrating. Like, okay. So what else am I missing? Where's the contradiction?
Hold it!
I actually believe that. What? Well, it's true, isn't it? The place was totally empty when we went in. At that time, the victim was already in the storeroom, having been forced to open the door by the accused with the gun to his head. These two witnesses never even laid eyes on the proprietor of the pawn. Correct. You got it, mister. Down to a T. The Skulkin brothers never actually encountered Mr. Windibank. Is that really true, I wonder? You heard a voice yelling out, "Give me that gun." So let's think about this a different way. What would I have to disprove in this statement in order for it to be wrong? I am what my goal is right now. My goal right now is to disprove what they are saying. So I have to prove that when they say, all right, we did knock a few things over, but we weren't rifling for nothing, I have to prove that in that statement is a lie or a contradiction. Can I contradict the fact that they knocked a few things over and weren't rifling for nothing? No, I cannot. Can I contradict, just before the gunshot, we heard a voice yelling out, give me that gun? Do I have evidence to contradict that they heard a voice yelling out, give me that gun? Do I have evidence to suggest that they did not actually hear this? This is supplemental testimony now. Give me that gun. Then immediately after give me that gun, shoot. Shot rang out. Give me that gun. I don't feel like I can contradict this. I can't contradict that before the gunshot they heard a voice. I can't contradict that. The bloke that owned the place was holding a gun, so he should have just fired instead of yelling at the girl. Can I contradict that the bloke who owned the place was holding a gun? Yes, I can actually. So he should have just fired instead of yelling at the girl. Can I contradict so he should have just fired instead of yelling at the girl? No, I mean I could say like, how do you know that there was a girl there in the first place? They say they didn't see Mr. Windibank, but how did they know about Gina?
Hold it!
Like, that's one thing that I could try to do. But this seems to be about Mr. Windibank having a gun in his hands. Them two waving them guns at each other must have been pretty heated. Just before he shouted, we heard the geezer say if you don't want to get shot. Didn't really sound like it meant it, mind. More of an empty threat, you could say. Give me that gun. I have an idea. Give me that gun. That's what he said. So this statement on the gun says, a gun belonging to the victim, Mr. Windibank, that Gina was holding when she was found unconscious, are signs of a single discharge. It's not the picture. If I say the bloke who owned the place was holding a gun, you should have just fired instead of yelling at the girl. But the gun was being held by Gina. It could be the gun itself. Doesn't feel right though. Like let's think about this. The bloke that owned the place was holding a gun, so he should have just fired instead of yelling at the girl. Man, I think I have to get to the point where I might just have to brute force this a little bit. The bloke that owned the place was holding a gun, so he should have just fired instead of yelling at the girl. The Gina was holding, but she was holding the gun. I'm gonna keep that in mind. Can I contradict Lumi? It didn't have give me a fright. We was thinking the shooter come out the door and get us next. Can I disprove we were thinking that the shooter would come out the door and get us next? the gun would not have had any bullets in it. However, how would they have known that? It actually makes sense that they would have been scared, because if they hear one shot, they assume the gun is loaded, even though it wasn't. Like, like if you look at the evidence again, it says there was a single. It doesn't talk about the amount of bullets left, so I don't think the gun contradicts that. Can I contradict? We were thinking the shooter would come out the door and get us. I don't think so. We stuck everything back where we found it and scarpered right and found right. We stuck everything back where we found it.
Hold it!
For pointy fire shopping, I'm gonna miss her elections. Can I prove that they... Can I contradict? We stuck everything back where we found it and skippered. Obviously not. Also, the curtain. You cannot see this in the 1 a.m. photograph. Why would you not be able to see that ledge thing here, but you can see it in the 1:30 photo?
Hold it!
Let's see. Let's think about this some more. Right now, what my brain is thinking is I could try to contradict the guy holding the gun. Or wait, that was wrong. So that's not it. We were thinking the shooter come out the door and get us next. We took everything back where we found it. I mean, I could try to argue that they didn't because of this. That little detail just bothering me. And I proved they could have shot the pawnbroker. You never had the chance, but you could have had the chance. I'm gonna take a risk.
Objection!
Yeah, it's too bad. I don't know, man. I'm trying to suggest, maybe I'm reading too much into it. But like, there's clear signs of that door thing being. Did I already try? I don't even remember if I already tried this.
Objection!
Yeah, it is what it is. Okay. I've almost doubled my, well, not double my blunders. This is really bad. Okay, What am I missing? I drink some water. And I prove they never had a chance.
Objection!
Um, let's look at the evidence again. The bloke would have just fired. How do you know he was holding a gun? I'm supposed to do. I'm so lost. Let me think. This is not going good. I really don't want to give up. Just before the gunshot, we heard a voice yelling out, "Give me that gun."
Hold it!
You heard the voice and the gunshot almost simultaneously. So they knew his voice and claimed they didn't actually know him. But I'm not trying to argue if they know him or not. I'm trying to argue that they didn't hear the voice yelling out, "Give me that gun." I'm not trying to contradict what they say after I press them. I'm trying to contradict what they say in the statement. So I feel like the fact that they know Mr. Windibank's voice at this moment in time doesn't matter, because I have no way of contradicting that. And they assumed that he was holding a gun because of what he said.
Hold it!
He didn't open the storeroom door, not in your life. Went deathly quiet, put the wind out anyway. The door was locked. Locked from the inside, even led to believe. It was Gov from the inside. So we had no way of knowing what was going on in there, did we? Some other way to get a view, like through the keyhole. I don't ring no bells, don't light no lights. We had to cut on the windows, anything like that. They seem pretty confident they never entered the storeroom floors.
Hold it!
So based on how they're responding to things, it seems like
Hold it!
the two statements I get the most worried about would be, oops, this one. I am really struggling with this one. Them denying. Okay.
Hold it!
This statement feels like the most suspicious one now. Just before the gunshot, we heard a voice yelling out, "Give me that gun." I honestly don't know what I'm trying to do anymore. I don't know, dude. You should have just fired instead of yelling at the girl. Is it? I don't know, man. Is it supposed to be? I don't even remember what I presented already.
Objection!
I don't know, dude. I don't know, dude. So stupid. I don't get it, dude. Like, I've looked at all the evidence, I've looked at all the
Guilty.
statements,
Guilty.
Guilty.
and like
Guilty.
what can be a possibility
Guilty.
given the statements that are said. I'm clearly missing something. I'm not making the connection at all to what it is. I mean, I guess I can try to re-examine. Here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna re-examine the evidence and see if maybe I can find something in the evidence that's different. Maybe I'm missing something from the evidence. Maybe I can get an extra line of dialogue.
Hold it!
Sorry, everyone, that you have to watch this again for like the third time.
Is that right? Excuse me.
I'm just, man, I don't know what I'm missing. Yeah, I don't want to go with just if it's supplemental. Okay, is there anything I can take away from this? Probably not. I already looked at this. All right. I'm gonna try to move this along. So what I'm gonna ask is, there are 6 statements. I would like someone to tell me which statement has a contradiction in it that I need to look at. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And I only want to know what number it is. 3. Okay. Holding a gun, so you should have just fired.
Hold it!
Windenbank had a gun in his hands. Oh yeah, it was a sight. Gonna protect the articles. Put the bullet in himself. It sounded like he was ready to pull the trigger the other night. Only the person was gonna beat him to it. Give me the gun. It was really after those words you heard the gunshot. So, what's gonna contradict the phrase, the bloke that owned the place was holding a gun, so he should have just fired instead of yelling at the girl? So, what can we do here? I cannot look at people, so it can't be related to a person. I can only pick the evidence. So, with the armband, no. With the pawnbroker's ticket, contradict this? No. Girl, Gina's representation papers, that's not gonna matter. This ticket doesn't matter. 3 blood samples. So you should have just fired instead of yelling at the girl. I don't think this would have anything to do with it. This wouldn't matter. This won't matter. The paper won't matter. I don't think. It's more about the government secrets. The autopsy report. Shot in the back. I think I tried this already, but I can try it again. Crime scene photograph. Murdered in the storeroom. It shows a single bullet in the... No, that's not... I mean, these two are... Oops. These two are interchangeable, basically. The bloke who owned the place was holding a gun. Crime scene floor plan. That wouldn't matter. A gun belonging to the victim that Gina was holding when she was found unconscious. But he wasn't so it could be the gun. I think I tried this though already. It wouldn't be this gun. Photograph of Gina. We try this. It's like, eh. The post-shooting photograph. The bloke was holding a gun. So I feel like the post scene's not gonna matter. So what I'm thinking right now is it's either got to be the gun or it's got to be the autopsy report. Because the rest of this whole page doesn't... I think it's got to be one of these two, right? I could have sworn I already presented the... If it's the autopsy report here, I'm going to be really sad because I'm pretty sure I thought I could have sworn I already tried this. Okay, I thought I tried this. Let's see, then is it the gun? If it's not the gun, it's not the gun. So it's not related to the gun. Okay, so it's not the gun, it's not the autopsy report. So let's think about the logic here. So what evidence do I have that's going to contradict the phrase, the bloke that owned the place was holding a gun? So he should have just fired instead of yelling at the girl. Like, I don't see how this will have anything to do with it. This won't have anything to do with it. This won't have anything to do with it. This won't have anything to do with it. That won't have anything to do with it. This shouldn't. This shouldn't. So the autopsy report and the gun are out. It's not this picture. Would the post-shooting photograph anything to do with it? Would the crime scene floor plan make this contradiction? The bloke that owned the place was holding a gun, so he should have just fired instead of yelling at the girl. Is the logic going to be, how could you know he was holding a gun based on the floor plans? It's not going to be the stereoscope. Not this, not this. There's just no way it can be any of these. This is the floor plans with the crime scene photograph. I guess you just brute force it at this point. I don't know what to do, guys. I've been at this with the knot for an hour and a half now. So it's not related to the floor plans. I mean, I've tried everything I can think of. It won't be the armband. It won't be the ticket. It can't be the representation papers. It won't be this. It shouldn't be this. The blood samples shouldn't be a thing. The bloke who owned the place was holding the gun. He should have just fired instead of yelling at the girl. This is the crime scene photograph? He wasn't holding a gun? That doesn't seem right. Not the autopsy report. It's not the gun. It's not the crime scene. So what do I have to choose from then? Basically the crime scene photograph and the post-shooting photograph? Or their gun?
Objection!
It is this? So they wanted me to present the photograph that proves he wasn't holding a gun. That's so strange. Okay. Okay. All right. We're gonna just move on. And yet, photographic evidence obtained immediately after the incident clearly shows Mr. Winterbank was not holding a firearm of any description. Hey, you what? Warren Bennett, that ain't right. Well, I guess that just is what it is. I mean, I guess the logic makes sense. It's... Alright.
Objection!
There can be no question that the victim's revolver was used in the incident. I remind the court that Mr. Winterbank's gun was found at the scene. Not only was it identified as the murder weapon, but it was found in the accuser's hand. Yeah, that mole tool used the victim's own gun to finish him off. Give me that gun. Bam. Kind of thing. See exactly where you are, right there, eh? If the crime had taken place as you so colorfully described in your testimony, it would have given rise to an undeniable and significant inconsistency in the final moments you just acted out. Goodness, are you sure, counsel? You intrigue me, my learned friend. Well, let's see some evidence to support your claim. Where is it proof that demonstrates this inconsistency in the witness's portrayal of the victim's final moments?
Take that!
So basically, I had the whole thing right. I just didn't do it in the right order. Okay. Here's what it is. Gotta give some content to get towards those blunders. The witnesses claimed to have heard a shout of "Give me the gun," followed by the gunshot. Indeed, the The two events happening almost simultaneously, or we've been led to believe. Yes, that's right. Now, if that testimony is true, it would mean that at the moment of death, the victim and his attacker would have been facing each other. Yeah, so I had the scenario laid out. They just wanted me to present the photograph. Okay, I guess that makes sense. The victim died instantly after being shot from behind. So as I stated before, there is an undeniable inconsistency in testimony, Mr. Scogan. Yeah. But it's God's one truth. It is, Ness, it is. When he was shot that night, the shopkeeper had a gun in his hand, and we saw it with our bleeding eyes. Did I hear you right just now? You actually saw Mr. Winterbank holding a gun? Something like that might have slipped out. Ladies and gentlemen, you have all just heard the admission by these two witnesses. Now, on the night in question, they actually saw, with their own eyes, the victim wielding a gun. Which only mean that despite their testimony to the contrary, Milken brothers must have encountered the victim in person. Nash, Order. Witnesses, explain yourselves at once. Well, the thing is, we weren't supposed to, It would seem that my previous warning fell on deaf ears. I made it quite clear the false witness would be the death of you. I understand that you replaced the untruths of your original testimony with renewed lies. Ever so sorry, Governor. Truth is, we Cut out, Dash, cut it out. No, you know what you'll do to us. Who are they talking about? Let me make your position here perfectly clear. You will talk. There is no other option available to you. Oh, come on, the game's up. But all we have guts for gutters. The case hasn't quite sunk in yet. No matter how hard you try to hide it, the truth will come out. On the night in question, it is now apparent that you brothers met face to face with the victim. I demand that you testify again to explain the precise circumstances in which the meeting took place. Well, do we have to? On pain of death. I suggest you make yourselves fully aware that this is your very last chance to tell the truth. Oh, I was waiting for him to be like, oh, you're dead. Alright, so he just got inside the gaff, and he heaved a sigh of relief when the geezer showed his mug. Give me the gun, he bellowed, and then he flew at us like he was possessed. I thought we'd had it. Real geezer, the bloke was strong as an ox. He chucked me over the counter. I pulled my gun on him, and then he legged it through the door in the back room. Never had nothing to do with killing him. That's what happened, I swear. Here in Alton, moments before the victim was killed in the storeroom, you in fact encountered him in the main part of the shop. Well, yeah. Sorry. Well, we find ourselves at an interesting juncture. This changes matters considerably. But honest, Governor, this time, Nash, we ain't got nothing more to hide. Very well, counsel for the defense. You may proceed with your cross-examination. Yes, my lord. This is it. Moment I've been waiting for. I'm sorry, guys, for taking so long on that last one. I feel a little dumb, but sometimes things take a little bit longer to click for me than other things.
Hold it!
When you say geezer, I presume you mean the victim and proprietor of the shop, Mr. Winterbank. Who else? Sorry, I mean, that's right. Just keeping a close eye on the entrance to the gap, obviously. No one's gonna come out of the back room like that. Back room being the pawnbroker's storeroom? Yeah, that must be where he popped up from. Only place he could have been. You see, the victim was already in the storeroom when these brothers entered the premises. Which means Ginny must have been in there at the point as well. Doesn't make sense, does it? Ginny had threatened Mr. Winterbank into the storeroom with her at gunpoint. Why would he have emerged from the same room all alone when the brothers arrived? I don't know. Did you see the accused at that time? Well, that mold tooler. Couldn't tell you. No way, Cobber. We're bigger fish to fry than then. I mean, the old geezer just lost it. Give me that gun, he bellowed, and then he flew at us, so he was possessed. I thought we had it. You mentioned that Mr. Winterbank shouted those words in the previous testimony, too. However, you claim that you heard him yelling them on the other side of the storeroom door. Oh, did we? The truth is, he was shouting those words at you, wasn't he? Well, yeah. Was the victim Mr. Windibank wielding a gun at the time? Was he ever blimey love me a great ugly barrel? Yeah, pointing straight at me, front piece. What you're saying is, you definitely shot Mr. Windibank with the gun at that time, is that right? It is, spot on. All of a sudden, he came at us, he did. It was Bedlam, I don't know who was going for who. You were clearly all going for each other. On that shit, we thought we had it. I mean... Poor old geezer, bloke was strong as not. He jumped over the counter. Yes, you mentioned the counter in your previous testimony, too. Well, yeah, of course we did. He knocked over a load of books, candlestick, and some skull whatnot. That got to go some marionette, what knocked over a picture frame, what knocked them scales on the floor. So in fact, it wasn't the sound of the gunshot that shocked you and made you knock those things off the counter. Well, Big Bruv here went flying over the counter like a gunshot, I could tell you. Then the old geezer pinned him. He didn't actually did. If you hadn't been there, bloke would have flattened me like a blooming pancake in seconds. At the time in question, the alarm was raised at the local police station via a secret cable from the pawnbrokery. There's a button under the counter used to activate it, which was presumably pressed by the victim. That's right. When the brothers fled the scene and back onto the street, they ran straight into the arriving police, didn't they? Poor Mr. Windibank. He did everything he could to protect his shot. I pulled my gun on him and legged it through that door in the back room. Were you intending to shoot Mr. Windibank? No, never. I was just, you know, looking out for me, bro, weren't I? He was being flattened, don't forget. By a man whose shot was being burglared, yes. And then the man fled into the storeroom when you pointed your gun at him. Is that it? Yeah, that's it. He shot me away and then ran over to the door and shot himself in. Something about that last remark. I mean, that doesn't quite ring true. I wonder why Mr. Windibank ran away into the storeroom. What? Well, according to what everyone's saying, Ginny was in there waiting for him with a gun. Aha. Pino allegedly used Mr. Windibank's gun to threaten him and force him to open the storeroom door. In which case, how did the gun end up in Mr. Windibank's hands again? I have no idea. That is strange, isn't it? This inconsistency could be significant. I should make a mental note of it. But the point is, me and my bruv here. That's right, Nash. That's right. Me and my bruv here. Never had nothing to do with killing him. That's what happened, I swear. Hey, nothing to do with it. Nothing at all. Nothing got nothing. No geezer went and shot himself in the back room, didn't he? Thought it was from the inside. Well, you knew it was, because we tried to open it. Oh, it's a decent door. That one going strong. Won't budge an inch. In the end, the situation remains unchanged. Inside the storeroom with the pawnbroker, there was only one other person. The sole person who could possibly have shot the victim, the accused, Miss Gina Lestrade. Would indeed appear so. What say you to that, counsel? I don't know. Is there anyone else apart from Gina who could possibly have shot Mr. Windibank? Mr. Skulkin, eh? What? What's that look for? From the moment you admitted that you encountered the victim face-to-face that night, the course of this trial changed completely. It did? What is your point, my learned friend? The question we may answer is, who could have shot Mr. Windibank? And it is the belief of the defense that the defendant is not the only possible answer at all. You have my attention. In that case, let us return to the plan of the premises. Victim was killed in the storeroom, which was locked from the inside. Those are the facts. So pray, what other possible answer to the question you shot the man could there be? Counsel, you must not provide answers to the court in respect to conundrums. Two, my lord? Quite many chances to be right, maybe? Indeed, namely. In what location did the culprit shoot the victim? And furthermore, where was the victim at the time? Understood, my lord. Are you alright, Bruno? I'm not entirely sure. There's only one thing I am sure about. If I can prove that there's a credible new alternative to what happened, It would change Gina's prospects hugely. Time for some clarity. For the court on this plan, the answers to the questions posed by his lordship.
Take that!
Defense believes that the culprit could have shot the victim from this location here. And in answer to the second question, did the culprit fire on the location indicated, where was the victim at the time?
Take that!
Defense believes the victim would have been in this position here. What your answers in fact show is that your own position is as absurd as those who have indicated on the plan. What are you saying? With Lord Van Zeta saying, counsel, that your answers are clearly flawed. No, they're not. What? That is not true. You can open the little door thing and shoot through it. Just leave it. Consider the situation as much as you like. The answers do not exist. I'm so exhausted, dude. Part we'll hear from the witnesses again where you deliberate counsel. That's all these brothers are willing to reveal this time, is it? They're so high in something, don't you think? Yes, I'm sure of it. And not just a minor detail either. Almost certainly because of those two that poor Windebag. Well, can't let them get away with it, Bruno. I know. Now I get the feeling. Even less evidence at my disposal this time to prove that they did it. Come so far. Now it's time to finish them up. Well, I'll do my best.
Hold it!
Were you intending to shoot Mr. Windebag? No, never. I was just, you know. Looking for me, bro, weren't I? I shot was a burglar, yes. And then I put into the storm when he pointed the gun at him. Is that it? Yeah, that's it. He shot me away. I ran through the door and shot himself in. Okay, I'm gonna try something different. I'm gonna try to say they shot him while I was running into the storeroom.
Take that!
What's up, Captain Dread?
Take that! Objection!
I don't understand, dude. I've doubled my blunders in this one episode. It's so disappointing. I'm so exhausted. I don't feel like I can really... So dumb. It's my third game over. I only had one before this entire episode, entire series.
Guilty.
I don't...
Guilty.
Guilty. Guilty.
Guilty.
Guilty.
Okay, I guess I'll have to think about this from another angle. Okay, this is very frustrating. I just have to focus up. I'm just very tired right now. Alright. He's possessed. Come here with a counter.
Hold it!
Come to the counter. And the geezer pinned him.
Hold it!
He's being flattened, don't forget. Why did Mr. Winnemek run into the storeroom? According to what everyone's saying, Ginny was there waiting for him with a gun. Yeah. Gina allegedly used Mr. Winnemek's gun to threaten him before he opened the store door, in which case, how did the gun end up in Mr. Winnemek's hands again? I have no idea. Strange. Something like this could be significant. There's no blood on the floor. Instant death from the posterior bullet wound at the heart. The bullet entered the body from the back on a gently rising diagonal trajectory. So it went like this.
Hold it!
So he had the gun. It came at us.
Hold it!
Unless he shot at close range. Of course we did. Knocked over a lot of books. Hang on the marionette on the floor. So in fact, it wasn't the sound. Well, Big Bro went flying over the counter like a gunshot. The old geezer pinned him. He ain't been there. He blew up flaming like a blooming pancake. I was ready for the local. Poor Mr. Winterbank, he did everything he could. I pulled a gun on him and he legged it through the back door. Were you intending to shoot Mr. Winterbank? No, never. I was just, you know. Looking out for me, bro, weren't I? He was being flattened, don't forget. By a man who shot was being burgled, yes. And then the man fled into the storeroom where you pointed a gun at him, is that it? Yeah, he shoved me away and ran off through the door and shut himself in. Why Mr. Winterbank ran into the storeroom? According to what everyone's saying, Ginny was in there waiting for him with a gun. Ah, yes, that's right. Gina allegedly used Mr. Winterbank's gun to threaten him and forced open the storeroom door. In which case, how did the gun end up in Mr. Winterbank's hands again? If only 2 bullets were fired, did he shoot at him while he was getting up? Did Ringo take the gun?
Hold it!
He had nothing to do with it. Nothing at all. Nothing, Gov, nothing. The old geezer went and shot himself in the back room, didn't he? Locked, it wasn't the inside. We know it was because we tried to open it. Decent door, good and strong, one budget inch. In the end, the situation remains unchanged. Inside the storeroom with the pawnbroker, there was only one other person. The sole person who could possibly have shot the victim. The accused, Miss Gina Lestrade. It indeed appears so. Let's see to that, Counsel. I don't know. Anyone else apart from Gina who could have possibly shot Mr. Winterbank? Yes. Mr. Skulkin, hey, what? Did he? I think Ringo shot him. In the moment you admitted that you'd encountered the victim face to face that night, or did the trial change completely? It did. What is your point, my learned friend? The question you must answer is who could have shot Mr. Winterbank, and it is a belief of the defense. The defense is not the only possible answer at all. You have my attention. In that case, let's return to the plans of our premise. Victim was killed in the storeroom, which was locked from the inside. Those are the facts. What other possible answers to the question could have shot the man could there be? Also, you must provide answers to the questions with the 2 conundrums. Namely, from what location did the culprit shoot the victim? And furthermore, who was the victim at the time? If Ringo stole the gun and shot, with there being no signs of blood on the floor, okay, hold on. They threw over, or Ringo got thrown over, and it knocked the candlestick. It knocked the, hold on. Some books, the candlestick, or like the scales. So if they were right here.
Take that! Take that! Objection!
Your answers, in fact, show. I don't understand this dude. The questions are from where did the culprit shoot the victim and where was the victim at the time? Well, I don't see why we can't show that someone other than Ginny could have done it in the storeroom, do you? Someone other than Ginny in the... Ginny... I don't want help.
Take that! Take that! Objection!
My mind is just completely shot, dude. I'm not thinking good. From where did the culprit shoot the victim and where was the victim at the time? Well, you have to at least choose a place that's outside the storeroom, don't you? Yeah. If you're saying that someone shot Mr. Winnebago from inside the storeroom, they'll just say it was Ginny. Yeah. I don't understand. I'm trying to suggest that this gun got stolen and they got shot at him.
Hold it!
They go to Mr. Back room. We popped up from. Victim was in the storeroom. Ginny was in there. What the balls? Didn't tell you. No way, Cobber. We didn't. Well, geezer just lost it.
Hold it!
And then Mr. Winnebago shot his word. However, you claim that you heard him yell on the other side of the store. Did we? He was shouting those words at you, wasn't he? Yeah, well. Victim with a gun. Oh, was he ever? Yeah, he had a gun. You definitely saw Mr. Winnebago with the gun at that time. It is, got a spot on. Game at us, he did. It was Bedlam. Didn't know who he was going for.
Hold it!
I know that you mentioned the calendar in previous system. Well, yeah, because we did. He knocked over a load of books, a candlestick, and some skull, whatnot. I got tangled with some marionette. What knocked over a picture frame? Or knocked them scales on the floor.
Hold it!
Seems really hard to think that the core, like what's going on there is like in the last statement's not related to this. So I pulled my gun and let it through the door in the back room. But it is strange. Where did his gun go? If he had it in hand. I'm honestly so just. I'm sorry, guys. I'm struggling so hard with this. My theory is that Ringo stole the gun and killed him. Actually, that's the only possibility. And the reason I think it's the only possibility is because of the fact that it was at a gently rising diagonal trajectory. I don't know how else to like say this. Sorry, I'm not reading. I'm exhausted. I don't know what else I'm supposed to think.
Hold it!
I don't know what else I'm supposed to think. I'm just so... I'm not... This is just not clicking with me. according to the autopsy report, it says the bullet entered the back on a gently rising direct. So it would have had to have been someone on the ground or shorter than the person. Which is why I believe that they could have shot
Take that!
here.
Take that!
Didn't I already try something like that? I feel I could have sworn I already tried that. I don't know. Maybe I was just off slightly. I don't know what I don't know what the sweet spots are. I guess I don't know. We're gonna move on. Continue. Mr. Winterbeck died instantly from a bullet wound in his back. Looking at the stain of blood on the storeroom floor, it doesn't appear that the body was moved after death, which shows us that he was most certainly shot while he was in the storeroom. However, the crucial point is, where was the shooter when the fatal bullet was fired? So you are adamant that the shot was fired from outside the storeroom. Well, according to the Skulkin brothers' earlier testimony, we got on him, and then he legged it through that door from the back room. But I also tried one where they were like up close to the door. I tried several. Maybe I just put them too far away. I don't know. Whatever. It's my mistake. I blundered, and I got it right this time. We have to assume that the door was open at the time. Is that precisely that moment when the victim was fleeing for his life? That these brothers had the perfect opportunity to shoot at the man in the back once he was inside the storeroom. Come to think of it, do you remember what the prosecutor said at the start of the trial? Moving on to the findings of Scotland Yard's coroner, his report states that the bullet entered the body on a rising diagonal trajectory. It means the victim was likely shot by someone significantly shorter in height than himself. Poor man, shot while he was running as fast as he could to safety. Of course. He would have been leaning forward as he was running away. Even if the bullet was fired horizontally, it would have shown his way in an upward trajectory. Cover witness is shorter than Mr. Winterbeck. Sure, my learned friend can't have forgotten. The storeroom door was found closed and locked from the inside. You claim the victim was shot as he fled into the room? You also claim his corpse was exterior enough to turn the key on the lock. But what if someone else locked the door? There is someone else who could have locked the storeroom door. Is that so? Counsel, present your hypothesis to the court. In the scenario just described, the defense's assertion is that the victim was shot from the outside of the storeroom. In which case, who shut and locked the storeroom door from the inside? Oh, was it Gina? Gina could have done it.
Take that!
The person who locked the door was the only other person inside the storeroom at the time. The defendant was Gina Lestrade. That's absurd. Is it that the accused deliberately engineered the sealed room? For a possible reason. Such action would only serve to tie the noose around her neck. I'm inclined to agree, I must say. Well, counsel? Yeah, that's a tricky one. Oh no. Epic dungeons are no place at the courtroom, counsel. Remember that, please. But of course, Ginny would have locked the door. Almost goes without saying, doesn't it? It does? Well, if I was Ginny in that situation, I know I would have locked the door as quickly as I could. I mean, those two burglars had just fired a gun in her direction, hadn't they? Yes, obviously. Before the two brothers arrived, Miss Lestrade and Mr. Winterbeck were in the storeroom together. Now, I don't know what went on between them at that time, but at some point, Mr. Winterbeck must have heard the intruders breaking into a shop and left the storeroom. Intruders, eh? That's us, bruv. Your theory is correct. That would leave the accused alone in the storeroom. Yes, it would. Then, probably only moments later, the victim fled back through the storeroom door, hoping to escape danger. Hit in the back by the bullet, Mr. Winterbeck fell to the floor where he was, just inside the storeroom. All we have to ask ourselves now is, what would the defendant have done in that moment? I see where you're going with this. Outside the storeroom was a terrifying killer who had just murdered Mr. Winterbeck. As soon as the thought struck Miss Lestrade, she slammed the door shut and locked it, in order to save her own life.
Hold it!
we ain't the ones who done it. You gotta believe us. I mean, come on. You never shoot no one. That's blatantly untrue. I know for a fact you would, because before my own eyes, you shot Mr. Herlock Sholmes. There's only one logical conclusion here. Mr. and Mr. Skulkin, you brothers had every opportunity to be the true perpetrators of Mr. Windibank's murder. Yeah. Where does this leave us? I mean to say it wasn't the pickpocket who shot the pawnbroker after all. Should know it was those three brothers. Look, she is the dense forest. That was amazing, Bruno. All the members of the jury seem to be firmly on your side now. I know, first time ever, and probably the last. Well, I think you've done it. Surely they'll have to give a verdict of not. An admirable effort, my learned friend. What's this now? He's laughing? You find the situation amusing, Lord Van Zieks. I myself find the defense's argument most persuasive. I dare say such chicanery is the bread and butter of the street performers of your provincial eastern nation, but such blatantly malicious conjuring tricks amount to nothing more than excusable pedophagy here. What? The hypothesis you put forward so ostensibly credibly cannot and will not stand. Because, you see, it contains a fatal flaw. A fatal flaw? You mean to tell me that you're unaware of your logic's failing? Well, I was going to ask, how the heck did Gina end up with the gun in her hand? I say, Lord Van Zieks, it mightn't be an idea to explain this belly conjuring trick, or whatever it is that troops to the ground. The fatal flaw in my learned friend's argument is really very simple to understand. Assuming you're not too dim-witted to count bullets. By George, count bullets. Oh dear. You noticed then. Huh? What's everyone talking about? Counsel! Yes, sir! Tell the court, how many bullets were found at the scene of the crime? 2? 2 bullets? Correct. The first, that which hit the victim in the back, ending his life. And the second, that which struck the detective, Mr. Herlock Sholmes, on his arrival to the scene. Indeed. The defense presented a picture showing the damage caused by the second bullet earlier in the proceedings. The bullet which injured Mr. Sholmes appears to have passed through his body to strike the calendar. Your lordship's understanding is correct. Furthermore, we know there are 2 firearms involved in the incident. The revolver belonging to the victim, Mr. Windibank, and the Skulkin brothers' revolver. The evidence shows that a single bullet was fired from each gun. Yes, indeed it does. A single bullet from each. Now then, my learned friend. You yourself told the court only moments ago that these 2 brothers shot Mr. Holmes right before your eyes. Yes, I did. Oh my goodness, I think you'll find that the single bullet that was fired from the brothers got it. And Mr. Sholmes, it means. Windibank not shot by the same gun stop with only 1 bullet stop. Exactly. This Nipponese street performer presented an ostensibly credible argument. However, it was never anything more than a diversionary trick. No hope of standing up to scrutiny. Ugh. Ah. Order, order, order! Pray forgive the discourtesy of flinging the dregs of this hollow nectar into the public gallery. Lord Van Zieks. But this court needs to open its eyes. The accused, Miss Gina Lestrade, is no ordinary little girl. Despite her young years, she can, regrettably, no longer be described as a juvenile. No, the person in the dock is far from a law-abiding citizen. She is a past ridiculed with criminal conduct. The truth is, the accused broke into the pawnbroker on the night in question with loathsome intent. As you can see beyond down in this print, which depicts her threatening the victim with the murder weapon. I have here in my possession 1 more piece of evidence the prosecution wishes to present. The disc. I'll be taking that whatever it is that McGill's out of the yard. Thank you very much. No, don't give it to him. It's mine, that is. Mine. Sorry, miss. But anything belonging to Mr. McGill did must be taken as evidence now. The music box disc. Miss Gildig's music box disc. The very day before the hateful murder of Mr. Winnebeck, the accused attempted to make off with this article, which clearly doesn't belong to her. None of the subtlety of a pickpocket, I might add, but by brute force and brazen impudence. Good gracious. Make no mistake, any sympathy for the accused on account of her use is misguided and dangerous. There are no depths which this girl would not stoop if pushed, no crime she would not commit. The court forgets that fact at its peril. I see. Let me print to take this music box testing in the evidence council. There's a current testimony for the defendant's character. Lord Van Zeeks, Inspector Gregson? What? Yes, Inspector? We had a meeting yesterday at the yard with the prosecution service, and, I think it was agreed that this wouldn't be used as evidence. What's this all about? Why is the inspector acting strangely? It's the first time he said anything to Van Zeeks at all. Unaware of any such meeting. But those were the instructions right from the top. The government bigwigs were insistent. Inspector, I am the prosecutor, and I alone determine how to present my case. Your warning is noted. Thank you. The prosecution wishes to proceed with submitting this disc as evidence, my lord. Indeed, bailiff. The prosecution has established the accuser's motive, opportunity, and basis of character. There's nothing more to add. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I await your informed decisions and rest my case. I don't believe it. I had the jury on my side for once. For all 5 minutes. Oh dear, it wasn't even for 5 minutes, Bruno. My lord! I wonder if I might say something at this point. Proceed, Mr. Foreman. Been something about in a bit of fog up to now, if truth be told, but all of a sudden... It was barely obvious to me, my men, there's only one thing for it. Oh no. Very well, the court will hear from the jury. Ladies and gentlemen, you will present your leanings as to the defendant's culpability.
Guilty.
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 I like how the doctor guy slams his head against the desk. With a consensus among the jury, it seems, when you have eliminated the impossible, whatever remains must be the truth. That's my line. I wrote that for Hurley. Nah, how dare you use it against us? Don't worry, Iris. I don't think we're finished yet. There's still more to this case than we realize. There must be, because there's the one thing that I'm absolutely certain of. Gina, didn't you, Mr. Winnebank? That's beyond any doubt. Very well. We'll proceed with the second summation examination of the day. Mr. Foreman, are you and the other jurors ready? Security Squadron is primed and ready for action, sir. Very good. So, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you will each explain on what grounds you have now to determine the defendant to be guilty. Once a rogue, always a rogue, I say, different breed to us law-abiding citizens. There's only 2 bullets were found at the scene. I would say this whole case is done and dusted. You don't need us to. It's good to see the truth here. It was that pickpocket. Never imagined that simple operation would cause me such grief. He's attempted death on the previous day. I can see I'm in for a busy day ahead. I am ballistics expert. I have seen many shootings. There is nothing I do not know about guns. I need to get some water. Okay, I don't know if I'm going to be able to finish it. We will at least get through the summation examination. There's little remaining room for doubt. I have to admit, I was rather bowled over by the argument put forward by the chap in black. When that fellow probably got Horace Sakaj, I saw that I'm Joe. I will be hoodwinked. Well, no more. Ugh. Oh, court was turning against me. Not fair, Iris. Prosecutor's being mean. Just because Ginny's done some things she shouldn't have done in the past doesn't make her a murderer. I'm gonna savor this fruity vintage while I savor the spectacle of your fruitless debate on the matter. Here's to the truth coming out, eventually. That's enough preamble. Counsel, proceed with the summation examination. Yes, my lord.
Hold it!
Just because Mrs. Strut had a history of pickpocketing, she must be guilty of murder. Is that what you're saying? Well. Are all members of the British Army so quick to judge? Dear lord. I beg your pardon. Are you mocking Her Majesty's Armed Forces, the greatest military organization in the world? No, I'm simply illustrating my point. Making assumptions about people because they're a soldier or a pickpocket is wrong and dangerous. Well, yeah, might have a point there, I suppose. Let's not forget the girl's already shown she had it in her before. She's clearly a criminal through and through. Can't deny it. When you say that she'd shown she had it in her, you're referring to this. Exactly. Tried to swipe that only a day earlier, or am I mistaken? Not exactly. At the time, it's hard to refute that. Never actually seen the real thing. I can't wait to have a closer look at it. Oh yes, of course. There's just some Zit uses Colonel Rose to make a copy of the Destiny, or every type of music box you can find from across here. We still don't know what tune it plays, though, do we? I'd love to see how the original compares to Hurley's copy. Gilded's disc. Could it be a clue somehow? Perhaps we should examine it more in detail. I agree. I want to know whose blood was on it. Oh, Bruno, look. This is blood. Yes, you're right. Please turn green, please turn green, please turn green. Because I might have noticed that before. Ah, then it's my time to shine again. I thought I'd be waiting forever. Alright, hold on with that disc, Bruno. Get this on quickly, Iris. It's a flash. This is actually going to be so saucy. What is the color of this? I knew it. The person who got shot, that blood on the calendar, is not Mr. Sholmes. Like green, it's not the first time we've seen that color, is it? The blood on the calendar is not Mr. Sholmes. It's the gentleman. What probably happened is that gentleman actually did the shooting.
Hold it!
It's the number of bullets that has you convinced. Only 2 bullets were fired, and the 2 guns that fired them have been examined by the police. When the parlor maid asks me how many are invited for dinner, I always tell her to count the table settings. Yeah, that's logical, I suppose. Although, yes, sometimes after dining, crockery does go missing. 1 or 2 guests rather like to find china. Does your employer dine with thieves? I suppose. There was another bullet somewhere, of which we were unaware. I'd have to reconsider my position. 3rd bullet on the scene? Could that be possible? Can I prove it? I don't think I can prove it. Yeah, for right now it's impossible. Fortunately, my 2 bullets were discovered by the police during their investigation. Yes, I know. Right. And I don't imagine the good men of Scotland Yard would overlook anything. I missed a bullet while I was cleaning his lordship's office. Well, I should receive a sound scolding, I don't doubt. And you should receive a visit from the police, perhaps. Like, a 3rd bullet. It would completely turn things around if there was 1, wouldn't it? Do you think we might find one lying around somewhere?
Hold it!
So if I've understood correctly, you need 2 pictures, a left one inside a different right eye. Exactly, then you can see the scene in 3 dimensions. Like this. So, if we have 2 bullets, I suppose you can see anything useful with them. I think you'll find, no matter how much you squint, the truth of the situation always looks the same here. A person who could have shot the victim is that girl in the dock. How could you be so sure of that? Think about it. Skulkin brothers shot the great detective, didn't they? Yeah, that's been mentioned once or twice. Well, then surely it's coming into focus now, isn't it? It's a waste of time. I'm not going to change this man's mind anytime soon.
Hold it!
Would you please stop muttering about the things that have nothing to do with this trial, sir? Defense license on the line here. Well, the thing is, I couldn't really say that it was nothing to do with this trial, or to be honest. Huh? I mean, there's no question that the man was shot, but the bullet had simply vanished from his stomach. But inexplicable, don't you think? I almost don't want to ask, but this surgery you've been muttering about all this time, you were operating on... What was the fellow's name again? Herlich? Herlock? No. Hairlock? Herlock Sholmes by any chance? Yes, good lord, it was the Hairlock fellow. What? You're the surgeon operating on Mr. Sholmes? That's right, using the very latest anesthesia techniques I might add. That's a fairly major op, I can tell you. This is crazy. Let me see, the fellow was brought in non-loud after midnight, if I remember correctly. They've been shot by some criminal or other. They opened it up like a shot. The funny thing is, I went over his insides with a fine tooth comb and couldn't find the bullet anywhere. I had to throw up my hand and just stitch the fellow back up. Hate to say the obvious, but... Yes? Surely that's because the bullet is still at the scene of the shooting. Counter the defense is correct. Really shown in this photographic print. The bullet that the skull was fired at Mr. Sholmes hit him in the stomach region, exited his body and lodged into the shop wall where the calendar was hanging in his room. I think I find it's really quite simple if you just consider the problem three-dimensionally. What do you think I am, son? Well, juror number 4 is about the best I can do. As soon as I saw the wound in the man's stomach, I flipped him over. Like a pancake? Are you saying that you checked his back? Of course I did, and there wasn't a trace of injury. No sign that the bullet had left the body at all. What? That's the point. The only logical conclusion is the bullet still somewhere in the man's innards. Apparently when I was slicing him up. But I'm none the wiser. How many times do I have to say it? Can somebody please explain how it happened? Can somebody please solve the mystery? Almost as much of a mystery as how the jury was put together. Interesting.
Hold it!
What do you mean you're in for a busy day? Forget to say stop. Excuse me, stop. I am a communications officer. Stop. Communications officer? Does that have something to do with this sending telegrams? Everything from personal messages written by members of the public to the latest in the capital. I convert all the messages into Morse code and tap it out to the entire world electronically. To the entire world? Thousands of miles of cables to the sea, stop. Worldwide communication network, stop. Information to all the corners of the Gulf, stop. Ah, yes. You're getting equally worked up about radio waves with the light before, wasn't she? I specialize in communicating information from the government departments and newspaper offices. I see. I'm sure I shall have to wire the newspaper report with today's guilty verdict later today. No sleep for me tonight, I imagine. Let's just finish the trial first, shall we?
Hold it!
I thought you were just a tourist. Good day. I am visiting London for sightseeing. I would like to take bus to Crystal Tower, please. Oh, he's just a visiting tourist. So you're a ballistics expert? Who knew? I have much experience with guns. Ah. I have lived through many. How do you say? Extreme, violent bath of, no. Blood of, extreme violent bloodbaths, perhaps? Ah, those extreme violent bloodbaths. English is very difficult tongue. Considering the sort of people you associate with, I'm surprised you still have it. Anyway, if you have questions about bullets and guns, you ask me. There's nothing I do not know. No mystery I cannot solve. I was very confident in knowledge of guns. But, if possible, please, only in Russian language. He's not very confident in knowledge of English, though, is he? No, so we should bear it in mind. He's our man. There's a mystery about guns or bullets. If only we had evidence. We're going to fight back. We need more material. We have to fight back. We have to turn this trial around again.
Objection!
Those two statements clearly contradict the idea that all I do is pit jurors against each other. Oh, a ballistics expert. Pitting, P-I-T-T. On the night in question, Mr. Sholmes was shot by one of the Skulkin brothers. Since there was no sign of an exit wound on his back, we must assume the bullet didn't pass through him. However, no bullet was found lodged in Mr. Sholmes' body either. Furthermore, the bullet was found lodged in the wall of the shop where Mr. Sholmes was shot. Juror number 6. Hello, my name is Villain. Pleased to meet you. The apparent contradiction is the fact it's clearly troubling juror number 4. Are you able to explain the mystery? I have seen a very similar situation in Motherland. It was night, there was blizzard. I was wondering what along Mountain Road, freezing cold. Golly! Snow was piling high on both sides of the road. It was very narrow and dangerous. Pursuers had hunting rifles and they were dog sleds. No, don't ask too many questions. I was shot from behind. I fell down in the snow. Situation very similar to what I hear today from Doctor. They could not find bullet in my body. No sign of, how do you say, exit wound? Then, where did the bullet go? Bullet never hit me. Well, never hit you? Why did you fall down? Bullet hit frozen wall of ice very close to my side. What? One small piece, very sharp, broke away from a lump of ice, pierced my body. Made a deep wound that looks just like bullet wound. Good gracious. Of course, piece of ice quickly melted inside me. That is solution to mystery of disappearing bullets. Well, that doesn't answer the question at all. Sure, you'd have it in a pawnbroker shop. Not some snowy mountain road in another country. Just an idea, but we might not be looking at exactly the same scenario here. Bruno? Where exactly was Hurley shot again? Well, according to the report, in his stomach, sort of around this area, I think. Well, that's precisely where he always wears a little pouch on his belt. A pouch. Actually, I might have noticed something like that, but... Yes, a pouch is where he keeps 3 glass vials for very dangerous chemicals that he uses in his investigations. What? Doctor, where is this pouch Mr. Sholmes was wearing? Well, fellow had nothing like that on his person when he arrived at the hospital, as far as I remember. If I may, Lord Van Zeeks. While it is forbidden for the prosecution to interject during a summation examination, inform the defense that I have the pouch in question in the antechamber outside the courtroom. Sorry? I understand that when the police arrived on the scene and found Mr. Sholmes injured, they removed the pouch in order to assess the wound. Thank goodness. I thought I was forgetting a moment. This incident has been in my safekeeping along with all of the evidence related to the case. I can personally vouch for the fact that it has not been touched since the incident occurred. Very well, while extremely unconventional during a summation examination, I must demand the prosecution present the item in question with all speed. Bring forth Mr. Sherlock Holmes' pouch. I see. This is the pouch worn by Mr. Sholmes in the night in question, isn't it? Look at that! One of the files is broken and the leather around it is scorched black! Almost as if the file exploded! Exploded. So, that night, bullet from the Skulking Brothers gun struck Mr. Sholmes' pouch! And it was the glass file exploding that caused the fellow's injury. Oh my goodness. This bullet did not penetrate the victim, but was deflected into wall of shot. Van Zeeks is concerned now. Delightfully complex aroma. Well, if your one mystery has been solved, at least. But it has no bearing on the truth of this case. The bungling and burgling brothers shot the detective, and the accused shot the pawnbroker. The pertinent facts of this case remain unaltered. At least the mystery solved. I can sleep easy tonight. Thank you, young man. Thank you very much. Glad I could help. To it's beyond the conundrum, the court will sequester the Scruffy pouch as evidence. Obvious pouch, Scruffy. Now, in examination, it would appear the defense is somewhat struggling to alter opinion. Please, my lord, a little more time. After all, that's a new piece of evidence. It could be a valuable clue. We can't afford to overlook anything here, Ryunosuke. There's still a way to turn this around. Somehow. I'm sure of it. Oh look, there's a hole here in the back. Doesn't look much like a bullet hole, but clearly something's ripped through the leather with a great force. It doesn't appear that somehow I've left the hole behind. Yeah, it looks that way. Mr. Strowman's probably took a beating, didn't they? Really scorched badly just here. Trap is broken. Look, there must be where the bullet hit then. Let me see. Oh my goodness. What the? Eris, look! Behind where the broken file was, do you see it? That's Skulker Brothers' bullet. What a stroke of luck that it hit his pouch. This is an amazing discovery. What this means is there were 3 bullets fired at Winterbanks that night. We found exactly what the juror was talking about. The 3rd bullet. It's time to present that juror again, I think.
Hold it!
Number of the bullets ahead, you convinced? Oh, 2 bullets were fired. Oh, Captain Dread. Allow me to show you then the 3rd bullet. The 3rd bullet.
Take that!
Here it is. We discovered it just now. Yes, on the night in question with Winterbank's pawnbrokery, another bullet was fired. What is this new trickery, you Nipponese conjurer? Where did you find that bullet? It was lodged inside Mr. Sholmes' pouch. What? The pouch was removed from around Mr. Sholmes' waist before he was taken to the hospital. Since it has been touched by no one. Do you mean to say the shot fired by the Skulker Brothers that night? Yes, as your lordship has surmised, it hit this pouch. That makes no sense whatsoever. We already know where the whereabouts of the bullet fired at the Mr. Sholmes. Clearly visible in the holographic print. 2 guns from the scene have already been submitted into the court record as evidence. Yes, that of Mr. Winterbank and that belonging to the Skulkin Brothers. Examination of both guns revealed that only a single bullet had been fired from each. But that must mean... That's right, and we now know that on the night in question, 3 bullets were fired. However, only 2 bullets were fired from the guns recovered from the crime scene, and until that inconceivable inconsistency is somehow explained, we cannot and must not pass judgment. Order! This summation examination remains incomplete. The court has been presented with new facts. Facts that would appear to shake the very foundations upon which the case against the defendant has been built. As in my prerogative in this situation, I hereby temporarily suspend the summation examination. By Jupiter. What? Bailiff, bring the witnesses back to the stand at once. Witnesses. Governor! Were you listening to the proceedings while the defense carried out the summation examination? We was, Governor, we was. Perhaps we can dispense with the tedious preamble. Simply answer this one question. A 3rd bullet has been identified at the scene of the crime. What do you make of that? Make of it, Gov? Oh, I don't know. Make nothing of nothing if I can't help it. Is it one of yours? Grumbly, Gov. Not a chance. In that case, did you have an accomplice? What? What? Never. Let's go, brothers. Look alone. Just the 2 of us. It's our trademark. Assuming forget Boris sulky. Only 2 of the bullets from the crime scene originated from the firearms we have in evidence. 3rd bullet was fired from another gun. Where is it? Gloomy, that's a head scratcher. Counsel for the defense. Yes. I'd like to hear your thoughts regarding these new developments. The 3rd bullet, and the mysterious mystery firearm. Thinking back over all the testimony we've heard, and all the evidence we've seen, I think I'm starting to form a picture of what really happened that night. My lord, I think it's clear what this 3rd bullet tells us about the Skulkin Brothers. It's definitely not they had another gun. They had a secret accomplice. On that night at Winterbank's pawnbrokery, the brothers must have been working with a 3rd man. The witnesses are clearly doing their best to cover up the existence of this accomplice. But all the evidence pointing to the fact that there was someone else present carrying a gun.
Objection!
An accomplice, you say? Pig's will. These protracted proceedings have already forced us to endure 2 summation examinations, yet in all that time, there has been not a murmur of a third man, if this is apparently Wraith-like being exists. Or it must be shown hard evidence. Without it, this fantasy will be crushed. Prosecution demands answers on 2 counts. Firstly, proof, evidence that this accomplice was ever at the scene of the crime. Secondly, the identity of this spurious character. Tokens are lying, I know that. But how can I ascertain the identity of the person they're hiding? I can. Full counsel? I'm supposed to prove the existence of this accomplice, reveal the person's identity even. Roger the prosecution demand, my lord. The defense is ready to present answers. I can provide all the answers the prosecution demands. Come on, Ebenezer, friend, despite the swimming eyes. Couldn't think you have something to say. This promises to be interesting. I have to push forward now. There's no other option. I need to use every single piece of evidence available to me if it will make a difference. In that case, counsel, I would ask you to present the evidence without delay. On the night in question, in the moments leading up to the death of the victim, what proof have you that there was a third intruder present at the scene?
Take that!
Evidence is right here in the portfolio. By Jove, that portfolio again, is it? Expect the court to rifle through your papers itself. Be more specific. Claim one of those blood samples proves the presence of this third intruder? Well, which one is it?
Take that!
What am I looking at here? There's to be some green paint or something like around the bullet hole in the middle of the calendar. That's a blood stain, my lord. A blood stain? Green blood, curious even for you. Is the court to understand that the intruder was some unhuman creature? It's something developed by Mr. Herlock Sholmes. Why, the great detective. New invention, stop. Not your bearded story, stop. It's this, you see. It doesn't have a name yet, though. This fogger sprays a chemical that reacts with the different elements of people's blood to change its color. Different elements of people's blood? Yes, everyone's blood is slightly different, you see, because it's made up of different elements. So by seeing what color it changes to, you can tell in a flash whose blood it is. That brings a whole extra dimension to looking at blood. Talk about a courtroom, stop. Very exciting, stop. As an example, this one shows the blood of the victim, Mr. Winnebank. Ah, striking blue. Yes, so you see the green color of this blood stain on the calendar shows that somebody else was shot in the main part of the shop. No, full fire there. Could it be some unrelated incident, couldn't it? Nope, it's not unrelated. The date showing on the calendar is the date on which Mr. Winnebank was killed. By golly. Therefore, we can assume that whoever was shot on the same day. And whose blood is it? Well, the Skulkin brothers in the stand don't appear to be suffering from any gunshot injuries. Which means it must be the blood of somebody else. A third intruder.
Objection!
Whose identity? The court is still waiting to hear. You can't delay this any longer, my learned friend. Who is this alleged third intruder?
Take that!
The man's name is Egbert Benedict. Egbert Benedict? Who on earth are you talking about, counsel? He paid a visit to Winnebank's pawnbrokery on the afternoon before the incident took place, when the accused attempted to deceive the pawnbroker into releasing this article into her possession. That's right. The man identified by the defense, Mr. Egbert Benedict, then attempted to take the article from the defendant by force. Broker. Yes, sir. I believe this filthy pocket thief has just redeemed an article from you, no? Yes, article in question belongs to me. I demand for it to be returned at once. Now that's a law. Who are you trying to pull? Give me back my overcoat, you wastrel. And needless to say. Any music box disc 2. Dr. Grexy was there at the time and can attest to what happened. In the end, it was the inspector himself who took the disc. You corroborate this account, Inspector? Yes, my lord. That's more or less what happened. And in the interest of being thorough, I asked Winterbank for a print showing this fellow. In front of the right-handed recorder, yes, that's him talking to Mr. Winterbank that morning. You claim this man is the brother's accomplice. Well, Mr. and Mrs. Culkin? Never seen the geezer before in my life. I'm alive, go, I'm alive. Never seen him. Well, somewhat unsurprisingly, it appears our witnesses disagree with the assertion. Your lordship recalls my learned Nipponese friend's actual assertion, which was that he could prove the identity of the alleged accomplice. Yes, and I can. And show us the evidence. I agree, we must see proof of the clean-cut gentleman in the photograph. This is the last piece of evidence. I've had a feeling that something has been missing in this trial from the very start. Now I'm going to drag a kicking and screaming into the courtroom. Ready to present your answer to the court, then, counsel? Yes, my lord, the defense will present the evidence now. Proof that the man in this photograph was, in fact, the person struck by the third bullet.
Take that!
Proof is right here in this portfolio. Good gracious, counsel, does this portfolio contain the answer to every question posed? Do you share my interest in claret-colored liquids, my Nipponese friend? But... enough. The court demands to see further evidence. Which blood sample proves the man you identify was the one shot by the third bullet at the scene of the crime?
Take that!
What's up, Kirby? How you doing? As I mentioned before, on the afternoon of the day in question, the defendant attempted, deceitfully, admittedly, to reclaim this disc from the banks, which is when the aforementioned Egbert Benedict appeared on the scene, I believe. Benedict attempted to purloin this article from the defendant's possession, no? That's correct, my lord. I myself was present at the time. It was following this that a minor incident occurred. Of course, so here is the disc for you. Very well. I shall bid you farewell. Say goodbye. To style. Wait a minute, that disc is mine. Ah! What do you think you're doing, you little tramp? You've drawn blood, you filthy animal. Being in music boxes, it has countless small but sharp metal protrusions over its surface. Those protrusions cause Mr. Benedict's finger to bleed. And the resulting smear of blood is still visible on the disc now. Goodness, a bloodstain, is it? My assistant and I have just analyzed the bloodstain here in this very courtroom, using my trusty fogger gun. Yes, and we added the results to this portfolio. I say, it's green. It's exactly the same color as the blood around the calendar. The evidence is conclusive. The man calling himself Mr. Egbert Benedict, who was in Winterbanks earlier in the day, is the accomplice who was present at the scene of the crime that same night. There's someone else there. Look at those two brothers now. They're sweating buckets. Wait, what are you talking about? It's boiling in here. My lord, the opinion of the defense. And Mr. Egbert Benedict be summoned to the courtroom to testify. Clearly seen that we can ill afford to ignore the gentleman's apparent presence. This has gone on long enough now. This flagrant ignorance of the mechanics of law. Sherlock Sholmes, you say? Yes, I've heard the name. The protagonist in a series of short stories with the vulgar class as a god of detection or some such. And now you employ chemical substances devised by this fantastical persona in the highest court in the land. Do you expect us to take you seriously? The samples made by this plaything are not fit to be called evidence. So the bloodstain turned a shade of green. What of it? Here's you successfully proving that no other blood in the world could turn the same color. Well. And pray, do not even think of suggesting that we should take Mr. Sholmes' word for it. Ugh. Is he right? Mr. Sholmes' concoction, a load of others? Oh no, I mean, he is a great detective. What are we talking about? We can't let him get away with that. I knew it would come to this. Of course, Mr. Sholmes' invention isn't going to be recognized by any official body, but what other choice did I have? I I just remember what Father Christmas over there said before. But Haley was temporarily suspending the summation examination. In other words, examination isn't over yet, is it? Good grief. What did you just say, young girl? In a summation examination, the decision as to whether or not the trial continues is in the hands of the 6 jurors, isn't it? The way I see it, it doesn't matter what certain other people think of Hurley's invention. At least, not for now. Yes. Young lady, you have quite the devious mind. It really just comes down to one thing. Whether these ladies and gentlemen of the jury are convinced by what you said, Bruno. Is that about right, would you say? Or did I misunderstand something? Unbelievable. Grisham's partner is a force to be reckoned with. Iris Wilson, sharpshooter. Under that shrewd process of the situation from an entirely unexpected source, must be acknowledged that the previous summation examination has yet to reach its conclusion. This is absurd. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, the court now looks to you for your final leans on this matter. As proud citizens of Her Majesty's Britain, I'm sure you will come to fair and just conclusions. So then, state your final decisions,
Not
please.
guilty.
Not guilty.
Not guilty.
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 Not guilty.
Two call guilty and 4 call not guilty. Such is the outcome of the summation examination. My lord, with all due respect, this is an outrage. Prosecution refuses to accept this decision. On what grounds? These jurors are persuaded by some half-baked concoction devised by a pretender to real police work. They're too ignorant to be trusted with the judgment of anyone's guilt. I'm sorry, Lord Van Zieks, but the outcome of the summation examination cannot be ignored. This trial will continue. Ugh. Nevertheless, we find ourselves in a rather awkward situation. Defense has very reasonably requested the subpoena of a new witness. Sadly, I fear that will be impossible. What? The name the gentleman gave for himself, Egbert Benedict, is quite clearly false. I don't believe it. I couldn't manage to prove the man was there that night. Could I say something? Who was that, please? Who spoke? It was me, my lord. Juror number 5? What have you to say, madam? If possible, Inspector. Me, ma'am? Wonder if you might show the photographic print to me again. The one in which the gentleman is shown. Right, yes, this one you mean. Mr. Benedict? Yes. There's no doubt in my mind. Juror number 5? You don't mean to say. You know this man? Yes, I know him. What? No. Good gracious. Well, that's a stroke of luck. Order, order, order. Juror number 5, how on earth? I'm a communications officer, stop. As we clearly see. The gentleman in the photograph is, stop. Also communications officer, stop. He works in my office, stop. Your attendant operator, in fact, stop. He should be in the communications station now, stop. Tapping away on the telegraph, stop. Doesn't seem right somehow. Can't put my finger on why, but it doesn't feel right. Suppose we all imagine the accomplice would be some sort of hardened criminal. It's a bit unexpected to find out that he was a respectable Joe by day, whatever he gets up at night. Yeah, I suppose that's it. I suppose that's why I felt something was wrong. Gentlemen at the London Communication Station, we should be able to subpoena him within the hour. Lord Van Zieks, if you please. Yes, my lord. Make the necessary arrangements with all haste, as your lordship bids. The court will recess for 1 hour. When the new witness arrives, we shall reconvene to hear the gentleman's testimony. Mr. Gregson? Yes, my lord? I should like to hear from you specifically about events at the pawnbrokery on the day in question. Come to my chambers during the recess. Yes, sir, my lord. Very well. Court is adjourned until 1:40 p.m. Well, I wasn't expecting this to take that long. I suppose that's expected when I spend an hour and a half on one cross-examination. And we are going to a part 4, guys. So I don't know how long that's going to take. Again, I apologize for taking so long on the one part. That one, I suppose it makes sense. Looking back on it. But nonetheless, I feel bad that the episode dragged longer than it needed to. But all that said, we've made it to this point, and we're making strides. But you know what? What is really going on? Who is Mr. Benedict? He's clearly related to the McGilded. What is going on? How deep is this corruption run? Can we prove that Gina is innocent? Find out next time on Great Ace Attorney #1. So good to have you guys here with me. I hope you enjoyed the episode. Have a fantastic night, and we will see you next time.